Hello, guys, and welcome to the sixth edition of the High Roller Super Millions brought to you by GG Poker. I am, of course, Kevin LaCoy, also known as Rotterdam, and I am joined once again, like every week, by Randy Lou, also known as Nano Noko. Nano, how was your week?
It was a good week, of course. I'm just happy to see you again, Roddy, and watch some Final Table today. And today will be a little bit different, a little bit special, but of course, whole cards up as usual, a big top prize, and some familiar faces.
Definitely some familiar faces. I mean, before we really dive into it, I guess we can announce indeed that we are doing things a little different this week. In the previous weeks, we always just started with the final table, the last 9 players that were in the tournament. We tried the seed selection thing one time, didn't really work out. But some of our shows, especially the last one, were a little short. And obviously, we want to see more of these guys. We want to see more hands. We're not here for just an hour of crazy poker. It's no, we want to see some proper hands being played as well. So instead of showing you guys only the last 9 players of the High Roller Super Millions, we have now drew the cutoff at 18. So there are still 18 players left in this tournament, or 16 actually. I think it's 16. And then we're gonna, kind of just make our way towards that final table. Then we'll see the whole seat selection process as well. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, it's already a crazy week right now in GG Poker with the World Series of Poker, obviously starting online. It's been crazy. It's been a lot of fun. And I think overall, just a great week for poker, Nano.
Yeah, pretty much exactly everything you said. World Series of Poker now already started on GG Poker with all those bracelets available. So, of course, you guys can get your chance to win that. Going back to our Super Millions, so you're right. There's 16 players remaining. That means we are in the money. Every player is guaranteed $22,000, $534,000 up top. So whenever you make the money, you can play. It's like, oh, you made that first little step from $0 to something back, and you're gonna feel a lot more comfortable going into the end. Of course, it gets a little bit intense again when you get to the final table.
Yep. So for you guys that are not familiar with this, of course, it's a $10,000 buy-in event. It's being played over on Sunday, and then we could basically save the best for last, and we'll broadcast it on the Tuesday evening for us Europeans, Tuesday morning for the Americans, Wednesday for Nano, and that's basically the gist of it. $2 million guaranteed, and this time it is $534,000 for the winner. So one of these guys is going to win more than $500,000 tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun. Now, we do a little pre-show, because the actual poker starts at 30 minutes past 8 for the Central Europeans. But we always like to go over the players a little bit. And we should definitely get into that because we have way more players to cover this time than we had before.
Let's go.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and take a look at the last 16 players that remain in the High Roller Super Millions. And of course, I know some of you guys are already excited for giveaways, World Series of Poker. We'll talk about that later. Randy, talk to me about our chip leader because this is someone that you're very familiar with.
Yeah, very, very familiar actually, because Michael Switzer used to play like 1Ks and 2Ks and stuff like this, and I would play with him in the Asia circuit, like $10,000 high rollers pretty regularly, and he'd always get the best of me. But regardless, he's 7th on the all-time Malaysia all-time money list, and he's currently a chip leader of 65 big. This is his very first Super Millions appearance. He is a natural 8 pro. He literally just ships tournaments. As you can see from some of his big results, he's won the first time he went to Triton, he won the Six Max, the very first event he played. This could be the same scenario here. The very first time he played the Super Millions, he's going to win it. He also played the Triton $1 million event, which obviously is a very expensive buy-in to play. He's just an all-around very good player, and he's very aggressive, as you're going to see in some hand history pretty soon.
Well, he's got the chip stack to be very aggressive, right? I think going back to some of the previous final tables we've had, with 3.2 million, we've seen people play heads up with 3.2 million and then still being able to take it all the way down. Now, obviously, there are no guarantees in poker. We've seen some unfortunate scenarios as well for other chip leaders. Let's take a look at one of the more noteworthy hands that Michael had on his journey to the final 16. Took a little look at it. I mean, that's one hell of a play on the turn, but what is there besides to say about this hand?
Basically, it's all about the turn action. The flop he raised pre-flop, didn't see that, and then he, on a turn, decided to go for the bet when he picked up the opening straight draw. His opponent went for a big check raise on the flop. On the turn, and he jammed all in with just the opening straight draw, which is a very bold and big play because you can see the blinds are 15,000, 30,000, which is pretty far into the tournament, and the guy still had 33 big blinds. So this is like a massive pot amongst two big stacks, and it shows that if Soiza thinks his hand is going to work, his play, he's going to make the play. It doesn't matter how many chips there is on the line, and of course, if he gets called a 10-9 off, so he doesn't have that much equity going into the river. But he just figured that his opponent's range is just very slim. And it's probably true. If you think about it, if his opponent had, say he had a hand like ace deuce and he goes to a check raise and gets jammed on, it's actually very tough because his opponent, Michael Soiza, is kind of representing ace jack and pocket jacks exactly. And of course, if you're representing these exact hands, you want to mix in a few bluffs. So he decided to use the 10-9 offsuit, and it's just a very courageous play that worked here. And Soiza is capable of making these plays all the time.
Well, I'd love to see a few more of these tonight as we're taking a look at our final two tables. Would be sick. We'll bring the hype, guys. If it happens, we'll bring the hype. Let's take a look at our second player that's still in the tournament, our obviously second chip leader, I guess. Almost chip leader. Sitting at 50 big blinds, Daniel Dvoros also has an incredibly impressive resume. What can you tell the people at home, Nano, that's not on these info sheets?
Yeah, Daniel Dvoros, he used to play primarily cash games online, high stakes, and now he took a transition into live tournaments like most of these online cash games guys have done, playing these like 100Ks and 50Ks and all these high stakes tournaments, and he's done very well. You can see he got first in the 250K super high rollerball. He also played short deck because he figured there was a lot of money there, and he got fourth for $1 million. He's just a very good poker player. A lot of people who are in the high stakes scene know this guy. He's 41st on the all-time money list, and he's just very impressive. And I remember though, last week I was looking at the lobby for this 10K Super Millions. I believe he entered 7 times and did not cash, but this time it's worked out well. It looks like probably his first bullet, maybe his second, and he's in second place.
Yeah, he's like, I just want to make it to the final table once as well. I want to see what my old buddy Nana Noko has to say about me. Let's take a look at one of the more important hands he had on his journey to the final table. That's pretty insane though. I love that story. We've got some ace deuce going up against ace 5 and obviously making trips on the river, but I don't think that check really worked out. But anyway, talk to me, Nano. What do you see?
Well, usually I think the big point is that he's trying to induce bluffs from his opponent, because usually when you make trip deuces, you want to go for a bet. Decide to go for a check, probably a check raise. Just that the main giveaway is that, clearly a very thinking player, and we know that already because he's such a good player. And he was up against Adrian Matios in his hand, who we will see a little bit more later.
All right, let's take a look at our next player. A very familiar face, and someone I know that you're very fond of as well. We're going to have to speed this up a little bit because we've got so many players to get through. But the next one, somebody we've seen before, had a lot of success in this tournament already. It is the one and only. I'm just going to announce it. Michael Adamo. You guys will see it real soon on stream. Obviously, he managed to win 3 weeks ago and looked damn good in doing that as well. We'll talk about it real soon. Yeah.
But we will talk about him now. Of course, he won the Super Millions for 400K on June 30th, a couple weeks ago. Especially one of the best. We know that. He's so aggressive. He's very balanced, and like when he goes all in, he's either got it or he doesn't. He got his opponent, Matthias Eibinger, to call him king high on the river because of his crazy image. Heads up for a lot of chips with a bet, shove on an ace high board, and he actually had the goods on the river. It's good to see Adamo back. He might be our first not back-to-back, but 2-time winner in the Super Millions, in my opinion.
There is a good chance. Now, guys, we are experiencing some technical difficulties, so there is a chance that you guys are going to notice that as well, but we're just going to go on for now and make the best of everything. Hopefully you guys are fine. All right, we've got him on stream. You already kind of introduced him. Michael Adamo, indeed, one of the winners that we've had so far, the High Roller Super Millions. I think you kind of already said it all. And we saw that final hand back then. It was awesome. Managed to get the call when his opponent had King High. Let's take a look at one of the more important hands he had on his journey to another final table. Nano, I mean, I see a flush, but that's easy talk. What do you see?
I see a miss flush draw on the river. This is a Michael Adamo bluff. And he does this, like I said earlier, he got his opponent to call up King High. Well, this is the reason why. He's got this crazy image. And you can see here, he raises the 7-8 of clubs. Checks back the weak straight draw. It's a multi-way pot, 4 ways. And there's a bet from Ben Affleck. Don't think it's the real Ben Affleck, but his name is Ben Affleck.
He does play poker, though. I've seen him in the past.
He does play poker. Yeah, in that movie, too. I'm not sure which one it was, but, he bets the half pot. Michael Adamo picks up the flush draw and raises big. And Leon cold calls 108,000, and Ben Affleck calls, too. Completely breaks down the river, a deuce. And this 3-way still, big pot, and Adamo shoves all in with 8-7 high and gets 2 folds. And this just shows you, if this guy's bluffing with 8-7 high, then maybe you do have to call him the King High, because King High is good sometimes. But this is just a very sick play because, most people, they go for the raise with the big combo draw, and then they get there in the river. They don't get there on the river, and they're just like, all right, I shut down because they got called in 2 spots. But this is some very good hand reading from Michael Adamo.
Yeah, I'm an absolute donkey. I misclicked in my sheet, so my preview was really small. And I was like, I see a lot of black hearts. I see an 8-7. I see flush, but no, there was no flush. That is actually an insane play. I mean, the river, even though obviously it doesn't improve his hand at all, it is a scary river card, though, right? Because the board pairs, and you can solidly represent a whole lot of things. You can pretend you have a deuce, but you can also pretend you have a full house. But that's an insane play. I actually didn't even see it. I fixed it right now on my preview monitor, so everything looks better again. Well, he won it before. You say there is a good chance he does it again. He's got a lot of chips. Let's take a look at our next player, because we only have 17 minutes until the action starts. So I'm going to have to speed this up a little bit. Adrian Mateos, also a very successful poker player. But talk to me about him. What else besides the info we have on screen?
I mean, Adrian Mateos is one of the best, clearly. 21 million all-time money. He's just... I remember, there's this hand on YouTube somewhere. You guys will find it. Where he plays a hand against Johnny Lawden. I believe he floats a check raise on the flop, bets the turn, and shoves the river with some just high ball hand on an ace high board. He just didn't have anything. It was just really insane play. It's just cool to see another one of these big, sick high rollers at the final table here, or almost the final table.
Well, almost. We're almost there. Let's take a look at one of the hands that Adrian had on his journey to where he currently is. It's weird because I'm always so used to saying final table, but we're not at the final table yet. We've got the 9-7 offsuit, duking it out with an ace-deuce offsuit, obviously making a full house on the river. But yeah, what do you see, Nana? Do you see something special about this?
The most special thing here is that, of course, he makes the full house, but he decides to go for the maximum value here when his opponent checks. About 150% pot on the river. So some players here, they might just bet maybe 200K, just try to, or 150K, just hope, please call me. But, Mateos knows that he's got that aggressive image, and similar to Adamo, it's if you're going to go for some big bluffs, you got to go for some big value. So you're not easy to read.
Yeah, it could obviously be seen as maybe a missed straight draw or something, right? Like Jack 10 that completely, even a Jack 10 of diamonds, right? Well, that would have been a monster.
Well, not Jack 10, more like a Queen 10 of diamonds. Jack 10 would make it straight.
Okay, yes. Damn it.
We're getting there.
Let's keep it at, damn it, I don't even know. There's so many possibilities that would have actually been there. A 6, nah, we'll figure it out. Either way, he got paid off on the river, and that's the most important thing here. Indeed, a massive overbet even. So well done. Looking forward to seeing more of him, because this is the first time we have him here actually on the show. And obviously it's super cool to see such a big name make it this far as well. Let's take a look at our next player, because we're going to be running out of time. Christopher Brewer. Obviously, he has quite some accomplishments to his names as well, but not the same resume as some of the other guys we just went over.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with Christopher Brew, but it does seem like he regularly plays at Live at the Bike, which is a cash game live at the bike.
Yeah, in Los Angeles.
I'm going to say that he's a cash game player that dabbles in some tournaments just because, well, cash game players always think they can beat tournaments, and it's definitely true.
Well, let's take a look at one of the hands he had on his way to the final table. I see a Queen 7 of Hearts. And that's a bit similar to what we've seen before, right? He's got a lot of draws on the river, but you don't get much out of that. There's no 6 cards, so that's a pretty insane play as well.
Yeah, I'm loving this top 5 players right now. It's just all these all-in bluffs or value, you know, just going to be very predictable, very fun. You can see that it's 3-way to the river, still shoves all in first to act, and just basically saying, you guys are not going to call me unless you guys have a big hand. But the fact that you guys all check the turn, you guys probably don't have a big hand by the river.
Let's take a look at our 6th player, Magic P. Silo. That's what I'm going to go with. Apparently mostly plays PLO, but not too shabby at No Limit Hold'em either, making it this deep into the High Roller Super Millions. It is the second Super Millions appearance, and he won a satellite into his first one. Because 28 big blinds, currently in 6th position. It's always interesting to see how well like the PLO players perform in a No Limit tournament when, you know, the stakes get this high as well, right?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I guess another thing to point out is I believe this is our first player from Indonesia to make the final here on the stream.
Yeah, I noticed that as well. It's like, I don't think we've seen that flag. Obviously, last week we had an Indian player having an epic run, and we have seen a lot of Canadians and Austrians, but this is really cool indeed. Let's take a look at one of the hands that Magic P. Silo had on his journey to the final 16. I see kings. I see a massive shove on the turn. Pretty straightforward stuff if you ask me, but is this something that stands out for you?
Yeah, just the point that he decided to go for the bet on the flop, which is pretty normal, and then the check raise all in on the turn. A lot of guys, when they got the kings, they're like, they just keep betting on the turn because, well, you think your opponent might just check back and you want to keep getting value. But, going for the check raise all in is a sign that you need to be a little bit worried when he checks you, because it doesn't mean he's weak.
Let's take a look at our next player. The person that comes in 7th position. Amazing. We can keep this very short. Slappy White. We know absolutely nothing about him. This is literally the first tournament he has played over at GG Poker. And I love that our production crew managed to squeeze it in there. Has less cashes than Rotterdam. Wow. That's a shocking fact, Randy? You didn't expect to see that one today, did you?
The very first time, yeah. First tournament played, less cashes. It's amazing that someone has less cashes than you. I mean,
I know. Where do you find these people?
Yeah, and it's like, okay, let me go play the 10K Super Millions. It doesn't seem like he satellite in and just like, I got $10,000 to my name. Let's just play the Super Millions so we can get me on the stream, show off to Roddy that I'm potentially worse than him, but probably better than him.
Probably quite a bit better, right? Like making it this deep into such a stacked tournament, I think is already very impressive. And I have the feeling he's probably going to surprise us in a very positive way. So I highly doubt this is the first time this young man has ever played poker. Well, I'm assuming it's a young man. Let's take a look at one of the hands that Slappy White had on his journey to the final table. We have a King 8 duking it out with an Ace 7 over here. I mean, this is kind of cool, right? Because we know so little about him. So what do you see when you look at this hand?
Well, I see very small bet sizing. It looks, it looks like a quarter pot. I mean, just a lot of small bet sizing throughout this flop. I think it may be a bit of a wild card. He really might be. I hope it's not the first time he's played, but I doubt it. I'm not. I think he's a big wild card going into this final 16 and could potentially stir something up.
Cool. Well, I will keep my eye on Slappy White. Everybody loves an underdog. The next player is somebody that everyone is very familiar with. If you watch a lot of online poker, this is a screen name that you've seen a while. No matter who you watch, if you watch somebody having a deep run in a high-stakes online tournament, you often see this guy on the other side of the table. Samuel Valsden, also known as European. I mean, I'm actually super excited to watch him play now. I'm really going to keep an eye on every hand he plays because I see this dude just make deep runs all the time, non-stop. I want to see what the magic is.
Yeah, so this is his very first cash into Super Millions. This guy is relentless. Like you said, he just final tables every big tournament out there. He's just very good. Sure, his GG Poker winnings doesn't seem like he's done it yet on GG Poker that well, but he doesn't really play live. He just primarily plays on every website out there. He's known as the European with the Euro sign in his name. I like his screen name too. He's just
There's something badass about it, right? When you're European and you've got 2 euros in your name, it's like, all right, let's take a look at one of the hands that a European had that brought him to the final 16. I keep trying to say final table, but we're not there yet. But I am expecting this man to make it to the final table, though. I feel like crazy things need to happen for him to not get there. Because like you said, this guy final tables everything.
Yeah, agree with that. So in this hand, he raises the ace king, and he's up against Michael Adamo, who has a lot of chips. And he goes check on the flop, which you'd expect in the ace king. He checks back the turn when he pairs his top pair, and then on the river, Adamo goes for a minimum bet, and he goes for a big raise with the ace king top pair, kings and nines, and it just shows that he plays very tricky. Of course, he's up against Adamo, which may be another reason why he decided to check the turn. Maybe because he didn't want to get check raised, or maybe because he wanted to induce some bluffs from Adamo on a later street. So it should be a lot of good metagame coming up.
Yeah, for sure, because you got a couple of crazy aggressive guys in these final 16, and it's gonna be awesome. It's going to be fireworks. We're gonna have to speed it up, guys. We have 8 minutes until the cards will officially be in the air, and we're gonna talk about some actual poker. Our next player, somebody who doesn't need a big introduction anymore, because we already gave him all the love that he deserves. Isaac Hexton, he's back. He won the 4th edition. Is that correct? No. Yes. Yeah,
he won one of those recently.
2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, came into the final table as a short stack and just put on a masterclass. I mean, obviously he had a couple of good hands as well. Had a couple of easy spots where he had double ups, but he also made like 7-8 brilliant decisions in a row, which it was impressive to watch. I mean, what's not to love about Isaac Hexton?
I mean, do you see the part where it says 1 to 10K short deck while playing this event? Man, this guy's just such a sick crusher.
Let's take a look at one of the hands that Isaac had this time that brought him to another very deep run in the high roller Super Millions. As we see an ace-9 battling with a queen-jack. Yeah, we're gonna have to keep it short, but anything that really stands out?
He's willing to make hero calls if he thinks he's right. Check call the flop, check call the turn, and check call a big bet on the river. Isaac Hexton. Yeah, don't mess with the guy. I just keep folding to him, in my opinion.
Well, and also he folds ace-10 a lot. That's what I remember. Yeah, he folds ace-10 when he's right all the time. All right, obviously super excited to see more of Isaac Hexton. Just one of the coolest names out there. One of the coolest, most accomplished poker players. I even watched the Joe Rogan podcast he was on after the final table. I was like, I want to see more of Isaac. It was really cool. Let's take a look at our next player, Aurelio. From Argentina, and I think that's the first time we see an Argentinian flag this deep into the tournament as well. Not a lot of information available about this man, Randy.
Yeah, I agree. Let's check out his hand.
Let's do it. Pocket sixes. And he bet his sixes incredibly strong on the river. Which I actually think that's a really cool play. But yeah, obviously in this sheet, guys, we can tell you very little about him because we don't know that much about him. Played a couple of WCSOP ring events. He played all 5 Super Millions apparently, and this is the very first time that he's cashing. So I do think that's something to take into consideration when we see how well some of these other players have done. Like 20 Big Will 20, for instance, right? This is cashing all the time. This is his 5th try. He does finally cash this time. And kind of turning his sixes into a bluff here, right?
Pretty much. This is just another streak of everyone just going all in with a bluff, and then today everyone's going to go all in and they're all going to call and just lose to nuts every time, right?
All right, let's take a look at our next player. Sixes are cool. Awesome to see him making such a massive bet on the river and getting it through. Next up is Sharkbait. Sharkbait comes in as 11th in chips. only has 16 big blinds. So some of these guys, we're probably going to lose them very early. But hopefully for Sharkbait, he's not one of them. Yeah, we don't know much about him other than that he's done pretty damn well over at GG Poker.
Yeah, seems like he's a high roller. He's got 1.6 million on GG Poker winnings. So, and he just keeps. It looks like he plays all of the 5Ks and 10Ks that run every single time. Let's take a look at his hand.
Yep, his hand is actually kind of cool as well. It's a 10 Jack of Hearts and kind of turns it into a bluff. Hey, look who's on the other side of this table, Elky. Oh no.
I think he has no more chips.
No, Elky has no more chips.
But yeah, goes for the bet with the flush draw, bets again. Like I said, it's a pretty standard play, but you got to go with the flush draws.
Yep. All right, guys, we're going to keep it really short, so we're going to run through the last players before our action actually starts. Next up is Alexei. He's back. Last week made final table, even took a couple of pay jumps while he was super short. I'm really happy to see him because I feel last week he couldn't really show us what he was made of, right? He just didn't really get any great spots to make a lot of things happen. I am very impressed to see that he's made it this deep once again, and I'm curious to see what he's going to bring to the show.
Yeah, definitely agree. It just seems like we're always going to get someone who's going to back-to-back every single final table out there, isn't there? Check out his hand.
In his hand, he had a Jack-10 of diamonds and made a very big bet on the turn, so kind of turning his hand into a little bit of a bluff as well, but it's a semi-bluff, right? Because he does still have quite some equity with the flush draw. It's good to see. Obviously, these are plays you're going to have to make if you want to make proper runs in tournaments like this.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, he didn't get to show too much of himself the last final table, but he was a short stack and got some pay jumps, and hopefully he can get a little bit further this time.
Well, we've got 3 more players to go through. Next up, an Austrian flag. As always, guys, we have to cover a couple of Austrians. The real Wushu seems like he doesn't really have the same accomplishments as some of the other players, but what does stand out to me is the GG Poker in the money percentage. 43.8. Who does that?
Yeah, that's pretty sick. The real Wushu. I believe he's probably a pretty good player. It's just my first instinct. Let's check out his hand to see if we can confirm that.
I think you like his hand. I see a turn bet with absolutely nothing. That's enough for you, right?
Yeah, no, I like this. It's just because, some players are like, oh, well, if I have some equity, something, then I'll bet. But this guy's pure nothing. King Jack High, just like, you guys look like you're weak. You didn't bet the flop, so let's go.
All right, we've got 2 more and another Neil flag to cover as well. A Moroccan player, Happy Driss, mainly a PLO player apparently as well. I actually believe I saw him in one of the tournaments I was playing last weekend too. I think I battled with this man. No, I kid you not.
That's crazy. That means we got a wild card here who loves PLO and a first-time Moroccan player. This is cool. 2 PLO players, right, at this final table.
Yep. Take a look at his hand. He had an ace 7 of clubs on a 3-4-5 board. I mean, the double gutter. I mean, this is basically like you've got the world, right? I mean, like flush
pretty
draw,
much just
everything.
Standard. You just got to go big all in.
All right, real quick. Next up, Canadian flag. Tempt
Good
me.
name. Good name here.
Great name. Comes in as one of the shortest stacks. Obviously, only has 7 big blinds left. Seems like he plays a little bit of everything. Some of the smaller buy-in tournaments as well compared to this 10K that we're currently watching. Let's go ahead and take a look at the hand that Tempt Me had that helped him get to where he currently is.
Looks like on the river he goes for a small bet value and calls a check raise. Very, very nice play. This is going to be a tough guy to bluff off of based on this hand.
All right, last player before we actually talk poker and see some cards fly across the table. Maximilian Lemonski. What a fantastic name. Austrian,
I like the photo
handsome,
too.
Sunglasses. Okay, this man's got it all. Let's just take a look at his hand before the action really kicks off. What he doesn't have is a lot of big blinds. Only 4.5 big blinds. So definitely an ultra short stack. But anything that stands out for you here, Randy?
Well, first off, a 3rd PLO player at this final table. But, he turns the 2 pair, checks it back, and gets the bluff all in from Kristen Thicknell against him. This is very clearly a thinking player. It's a very cool hand. I'm excited for this final 16. This is going to be fun.
I mean, that's the thing though. If you played PLO, right, and you have like 2 pair on the turn, it's like, how good is that? Really? Two pairs, nothing in PLO. It's like second nuts or fold. Like that's what I've learned when I play that game. All right, well we've got a couple of PLO players making deep runs. It is going to be a lot of fun. This means, guys, that it's now pretty much time. Seems like we're setting a couple of things up right now. No, let's do some predictions then. Who's going to take it all today?
Man, there's a lot of good choices here. I'm picking Michael Adamo, first time back to back. We know he's got the capability of winning. He's got the chips. He seems like a two-time champion for me.
Yeah, I feel like last time when I didn't pick Isaac Haxton, I felt really stupid. But this time, I'm a little bit of a fanboy of European, so I think I'm gonna go with European, man. There's something special about it.
It's a good choice. It's a good choice.
Yeah. Every stream I watch, I see this dude is just crushing it. He makes great plays. He gets so much respect from his fellow peers as well. Everybody talks about him in a very highly way. So, guys, within 30 seconds from now on, the action will officially start. It's, of course, a bit different for us as well. It was very simple and straightforward when it was just 9 players, and that's all we really had to cover. Now we are working our way towards the final table. And then there is a final table. So, Nano and I are not exactly sure how this is going to play out either. What we are sure of is that we are going to watch some just insane poker action tonight, and I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, I think it's important too that we haven't reached the final table, so play might be a little bit different. Like final tables where the pay jumps are a little bit bigger than normal. So you often, when you get to like the 1 or 2, or even now, right? It's only like 7 places from the final table. You're going to see extra pressure from the big stacks. They can usually get away with a lot more. But based on these hand histories, I'm expecting some big bluffs and some big call downs coming up.
What's interesting as well is that, all right, I see the graphics are loading. The table is coming, guys. This is going to be awesome. Here we go. Now, obviously, what's important to mention, guys, is that there is a pay jump immediately. Top 16 gets paid $22,000. But if you make top 15, you get $33,000. So you don't really want to buzz right now if you don't have to. On the other end, most of these guys, Nano, are probably playing it to win it all, right? They're not playing for that pay jump of like 11K. Yes, it's important, but they want to make the proper run.
Yeah, you definitely want to play for the top. But, these guys are professionals, at least most of them, I'm pretty sure. And pay jumps are important if you understand tournament poker. And we saw the pocket fives fold there under the gun with the 12 big blinds. Could have possibly got it all in because we know Sharkbait's going to shove with the ace king. And this is cool that we got whole cards up and we're not even at the final table yet. This is such a good experience for GG Poker to put up for us to watch.
Yeah, this I think such a good experience for all of us that are interested in tournament poker and want to learn more about the decisions that these guys make in tough spots. Because a lot of the spots are straightforward and easy, and everybody can play certain hands, right? And we know when to shove, we know when to fold. But this is where things I think become a lot more tricky. So many more things that you have to take into consideration. This is an easy shove, though, right? The ace king.
Easy shove. It looks like they get the full normal time bank right now, so play might be a little bit slower now, and there's a shove from Sharkbait. And I think the most interesting part is when it gets to Magic Silo pocket sevens, is it going to call this 11.5 big blind shove? And I would say it's not a good spot. Some people will call here, some people will fold. I think this is going to set a tone right away on how Magic Silo, the Indonesian player, is going to take our approach to this final 16. If he calls, then I think this is someone that's going for that win, like you said.
I would probably fold sevens here because I think you also still have to take into consideration that you're not last to act. You've got another big stack that actually covers you behind you. And imagine, okay, he does make the call. Well, that's fireworks for us. And he is going to be a little bit ahead. But as so often, there is an ace on the flop.
Oh, okay, spades. There we go.
9? Spades? 9?
Or 7? Or 6.
All right. Yeah, no, adventurous call, right? It's not that obviously not a bad call by any means, because technically he was still a little bit ahead there as well. But these are calls that could really complicate you. And obviously, like sevens, there is a chance that your opponent is shoving with 8s or 9s or 10s as well, right? They don't need to have aces to shove there.
Yeah, I think the main thing is that he was in early position to shover, so that makes it even harder of a call. I'm not saying it was a bad call either. It's just that you can see, I said it's going to set the tone of how this guy's going to take
Mhm.
the approach to final table, and his is just play for the win. He's a PLO player. He doesn't have that much winnings on GG. Um, so it looks like we're gonna have a different styles going into this end.
Well, Nano, our shortest stack remaining in the tournament at this point is shoving. Hey, I believe he may have lost a player at the other table. I see only 15 at the top, but we'll confirm that real soon, guys. But our shortest stack, Maximilian, is shoving in with the ace-8 suited. Gets called by one of our biggest stacks, the second biggest stack, I believe, in the tournament, Daniel DeVoris. Well, great spot for Maximilian.
Yep, not anymore. Needs that 8
Well,
or club. He's got a lot of outs.
or a club.
Got the sweat chance.
Yes, that's a club.
Ooh.
Wow, let's go. I mean, justice, right? Short stack against big stack. You don't deserve to get sucked out on there. Not like that.
Yeah, so Maximilian's shortest stack is no longer the shortest stack, and looks like Slappy White's got the big hand ace king suited.
I don't think Maximilian wants to
Oh,
get a
so
little
we
crazier.
switched the table. This is cool. I like this.
Yep. Wow, this is a sick table as well, though, because we see European there. We see a demo on the right side. Michael scores as well. And Isaac Hexton. Wow, what a table this is. And of course, our Latvian player as well, who made final table last week.
Yeah. This is the table. This is the fun one to watch. You know, got all the crazy aggressive players in the big stacks, and you know, the two winners, Michael Damo, Isaac Haxton, previous 10K are here. Will Wushu opening up Jack 9 offsuit on the button. Definitely not a premium hand, so we know Wushu's the type of guy who's going for those wins.
I think this also means, by the way, that we lost Tempt Me, the Canadian player that we didn't know much about, because I didn't see him on the previous table. He's not at this table, and obviously we did lose one player. So I believe that Tempt Me will walk away with $22,000, and then from here on out, everybody makes at least 33,000. But I mean, we've got guys here that already won it all. We've got some massive online crushes. These guys are not settling for the 33. I want to make at least the 6 digits, if not a lot more than that. Wow, this is okay. I was wondering what he would do there with 6s. Immediate fold.
Yeah. So Samuel Bluesen, also known as the European. I think I'm just going to call him the European.
Yeah.
He's very he understands tournament poker very well, clearly. And when you're in the money and you got a hand like pocket 6s, it's probably better just to fold from a ICM point of view, tournament point of view. When you have these 20 big blind stacks, because you can wait for a bigger spot. But if say he had like 15 big blinds or 13, things might be different. So you really look at the big blind how many big blinds you got and the situation to kind of decide whether to play certain marginal situations certain ways. But generally speaking, if you have a marginal hand, you kind of lean towards the fold if you're kind of one of these players. And you can use this to your advantage as well. And he's going to open ace-8 here, which is not that great of a hand in this position. But he knows that with this stack size, he should be opening tighter, and people might expect him to open tighter and give him extra folds.
Well, he might get some action from the small blind, even though ace-7 offsuit is obviously not a great hand now. Michael is going to fold that immediately. Let's see if Michael Adamo gets a little out of line. I feel like it's impossible to predict what Adamo is going to do at any given moment.
Oh, he is going to defend, and it's actually a bit of nothing for both players. This is a very hard board continuation bet for the European. He doesn't really have anything. If he bets and gets called, he can't really keep betting. Is going to fire a very, very small bet, just hoping his opponent has nothing. And I don't know if Adamo's going to fold here because he's got some equity.
Yeah, he's got the 5 of diamonds as well, and then obviously he has a gut shot.
I got the 5 of diamonds, you know, like it's like a good flush draw, but it is enough. And he is going to call here with the queen 5 high.
I mean, it is something. And obviously at this point, what do you do if you're European? I mean, that 3 on the turn most likely didn't change anything. I wonder if he c-bets here. Went for that very small sizing on the flop. Let's see what he does in the turn. I'm really excited to see how he plays his
Oh,
hands. Wow,
wow.
fires
Another
half
bet.
pot bet and gets it through. I guess that's how you become one of the greats online, mate.
Yeah, that he just had absolutely nothing. I'm pretty sure he was looking to barrel that river too. That's a good read from European. And now he's going to open up the King Jack. Thinks he's got some momentum, but there's no way this is going to work because we got pocket nines and ace king from Christopher Brewer in the big blind. Wushu's going to call here. This is going to
Alexa
be
should
interesting,
definitely.
right? Because we're going to see a re-raise from Christopher. And what's Wushu going to do with the pocket nines? What would you do here?
Well, if Christopher shoves, I would definitely fold my nines, and obviously King Jack. I think the right play here is to shove, right? I mean, he covers them 2-1. You shove ace king, and I think the other hands just fold.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. There's a chance Wushu might change his mind and decide to call here. It depends. I don't know much about Christopher Brewer, but if Christopher Brewer is the type of guys who make shoves here of like eights and sevens and things like this, then of course nines become more of a call. And I don't know, but we know these guys are relentless, and it's just tough. This is tough.
Something like that's crazy. I think I'd fold nines. I think the best case scenario is that you're flipping. And since there are a couple of stacks out there that are way shorter than you, I don't think if you like, do you really want to go for the flip where that's even the best case scenario? And there is a good chance that you're absolutely dominated.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. If you always a flip, then yeah, you don't really want to go for it, especially with the pay jumps. If there wasn't the pay jumps, it might be different. He might just call it off as like early in the tournament or middle of the tournament. But we're going to switch back and forth between these two tables, which is fair for the players watching and hold cards up. So this is very cool, and of course we get some little background of how these guys are playing. Looks like Maximilian, paid some blinds, is back down to probably the shortest stack of the tournament. But Magic Silo open up the ace-9 suited.
Yeah, that's adventurous. I mean, obviously not the worst hand, but under the gun, well, gets it through. So well done. It seems like our Argentinian player managed to pick up a couple 100,000 of chips as well. Nothing massive, but it's good to see that he's making his way up.
You got to do something for me, okay? When you see Daniel Divorce's avatar, do you know much about that one? You'll see.
I have to see
it's
it.
covered.
Yeah.
It's covered right now, but it's
Why?
really funny. You'll see it in a second. I'm sure you know about it, but yeah. Well, you'll see in.
You're building this up to something that it better delivers, mate. Otherwise, I'm going to be disappointed.
I mean, it's more of a story. More of a story. Have you seen that?
Is this Daniel Negreanu?
Yeah. Have you? Yeah. You haven't. Where he got?
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure that my first of all, my feed is a bit pixelated. But is this the part where he is saying that? Actually, that doesn't matter. Do you want to share the story? Because then I can say whether I know or not.
Oh well, basically, I believe he was bracelet hunting in online, and then not the GG poker, some on the WSOP one, and then he got disconnected. He got so angry, he was like, you got to see the video. It's out there on Twitter, and everyone you got to see it.
It's a recent video. No, I have not seen it.
I know the Twitch chat has seen it, and as this story is happening, C-bet from Queen Jack, just to call the bottom set, gets his opponent to pair the top card, and this is going to be some action now.
First thing I'll do tonight, as soon as we're done, I'll watch the video. I promise you that. Yeah, what a brutal turn card here for our Argentinian player Aurelio. It's like one of these turns where you're like, hey, that's nice. Now I've got a little something, but he's most likely going to have to call whatever Magic Silo will fire at the river. What would you bet here?
I probably would I don't know, something normal, like half pot or something. It just doesn't seem usually it looks like my opponent's not that strong because a lot of guys would just keep betting strong the turn if they had a big hand. He does go for half pot. I think it's the right sizing. Queen Jack can't fold here. Because you got to remember, when you check call this flop and the flush gets there, you kind of usually you try to represent the missed flush draw, but now that it's got there, you can't really represent many bluffs. So yeah.
Yeah, let's hope.
He a sick fold, right? I don't think he's going to fold because his hand is like pretty strong still in the situation. Sometimes his opponent would value bet worse, like an ace-9. I don't know how he can get away from this.
I just hope he doesn't do something super crazy. Where he's like, I'm not believing you. All in. It's like, okay, nah, he just makes a call. And that's just a very unfortunate turn card. Nothing else really to it. So the chips that I just complimented him on that he already gained since we started, he now kind of gave back to the other side of the table.
Yeah, Magic Silo, he's the guy that was like in the middle stack, and he's been involved in like every single pot we've seen so far ever since this stream. Looks like your man, European, just keeps chipping up, and looks like he had high card there as well. This is a lot of danger. We got big names at the top. So
Is it
still
safe
the
to
chip
say?
leader.
Sorry, Nana, that I
No,
interrupt you there.
I
Is
don't,
it
I don't
safe to
have
say?
anything good. Just keep going. What is it?
Is it safe to say that this table is a lot tougher than the other table? Or do you think that's not fair?
Yeah, at first glance, I definitely will say this is true. No, I'm pretty sure it's true. We got Soiza, Haxton, Adamo, European. And, you know, I'm not taking away from the other guys, but these guys are, I don't know as much about the other three, but this is definitely the strong table. Just throw Daniel DeVos in there, and this is probably a star-studded cast. Adamo opening the A7 offsuit in middle position. I just like the way he plays because, like, he's that type of guy where he loses some chips and he just steps on the gas pedal even more. You know, like some people, like, they lose little chips, like, you know what? I'm going to cruise my way to the end now. But no, Adamo just, he says, you know, I'm going to pick my spots, which is pretty often, and keep going for it.
Yeah, he's been chipping up as well because he entered these final 16 with 1.3 million. He's at like 1.7 now. So he's making some good progress. Can take another look at our table where we have a few more unknown players. Slappy White with his first tournament ever, GG Poker, still in there.
This is your other pick, right? It would be your other pick, the guy who's got less cashes than you.
I mean, it would be one hell of a story, and I think it'd be super badass. Like, imagine if this is the first tournament you ever played, you end up winning it immediately, at least over at GG Poker. No, if I would, like, a serious pick would have been Isaac. Like, I would have always gone for European or Isaac Haxton.
Yeah, those are definitely good choices here. And Magic Silo is gonna be in. Oh, I'm surprised he folded the threes. This is crazy because, like, he made that big call to sevens, folded the threes here. Maybe he's just thinking, look, Daniel DeVos has got me covered. Let me just stay out of his way.
Yeah, but there's also Adrian there, right? Mateos in the small blind, and I often feel like when the hijack opens and the button calls, that's such a good spot for the small blind to just jam it way up, you know, with anything that's remotely decent. And then I think your threes feel very uncomfortable and awkward. Whoa, it seems like we lost another player. Who did we lose? Oh, we lost Alexei. No.
Oh, right? Yes. No back-to-back. Final table for him.
Alexei, what happened? Who gained chips? Michael?
Soiza got the last 300 or 400,000 chips, it looks like. Probably, just all in and loose. Looks like Haxton's got 13 big blinds on the button. King Jack, is he just going to shove? He's going to min raise? Both viable options.
Shoving it.
He needs to shove in order for Michael Adamo to not give him some action. Oh, wow. He still gives him the action, Queen Jack suited. Wow, Haxton's so good value. Shove the King Jack.
No, no, that's it. No. Oh, my goodness. What a flop. Well, guys, drawing that on the flop, getting it in there with the superior hand, that has to be one of the worst feelings in poker when you're like, hey, that's really good, you know? King Jack against Queen Jack.
Maybe I have a chance. No chance on the flop.
Oh. Well, that is it for Isaac Haxton. He is not going to be our first two-time champion. Great news, of course, for Michael Adamo, who now gains a lot of chips. So he's still in the running to become our first two-time champ.
I feel like his picture is perfect. That dog with just the tongue sticking out.
Man, I gotta admit, I'm a little bit sad. I wanted to see more of Isaac. He played so damn well when he saw him at the final table 2 weeks ago. Had such a fantastic run. And I mean, what can you really do? Whoa, this could become a really interesting hand now. The pocket fours, you pick up a little gut shot.
Yeah, it could be interesting for sure. Soiza is going to check back, turns the set of jacks. And I remember in that hand history review, I was saying, no, he was representing jacks or nothing. Well, this time he's got the jacks. Brewers got the pocket fours, which is a good hand here to kind of probably go for a check call. It's just a little tricky because usually you expect your opponents to see bet bluff the flop. But the thing is, in that hand history review we saw from Soiza, we saw that he checked back the 10-9 high on the ace high board. So I don't think you can really give up the fours here usually in this situation against him. I mean, it does make the check call.
And the queen gets that as well. And now this board suddenly becomes a whole lot less appealing for pocket fours.
So as a might go big here. He might be just thinking, I'm going to try to represent a big spade draw bluff and hope his opponent. He does go for pot size bet. Yeah, she's trying to polarize his bets and doesn't get the call. But I think it's the right play because oftentimes Christopher will have an ace there and will have to be put in a tough spot.
Nice run so far for Soiza. But jacks, next hand you get kings. Everybody else is thinking like, this is a chip. This could be trouble actually for European, right? Because Soiza's obviously been
too much trouble because it's still ace-7 offsuit. And when you flop the ace, it's not like kings are gonna give you like a 1.5 million chips.
All right. Well, there is an ace on the flop. Let's see how Soiza decides to play out his kings now. You hate to see it every single time with kings. There is an ace on the flop.
Ace magnets. So he's gonna check call. I think this hand's gonna probably go check on a turn, and we just play the river card. Should go check on a turn. There's a chance Soiza goes for one of those small bets, check back river, but the standard here would be to just check back and play the river.
This is kind of a tense hand, and obviously a very big moment for, I think, both these guys. Soiza definitely doesn't want to ship too many chips in the direction of European. And this is where it becomes kind of tough for European as well. Obviously, you called from the big blind. You hope to see an ace. Now you get the ace. You don't really want to give up, but putting your tournament life on the line with ace-7 is also not really what you're looking for. But I guess you just call here, right?
Yeah. Of course, when you're a pro here, you got to just keep calling. Whenever you flop an ace on these board textures from the big blind that's weak, you have to almost auto check call any flop and turn and just play the river card. Otherwise, you really shouldn't be defending this hand. And, Soiza did go for that bet on the turn check back river, like I said. And European, he's got 2.2 million chips. And, the two people that we picked so far have been chipping up really well. And this is cool. We're down to 11 left. So 2 people from the final table.
And we are going to witness the seat selection live as well this time. So that's going to be super exciting.
Good. Actually, that's a very important part because you know what you should do? If you're in second place and you're just a little bit behind the first, I feel like you have to go for the chip lead to go into the final table, maybe a little bit more often because of that seat selection. The chip leader almost always takes position on the second place guy, and that could really change things up. So it should be quite interesting.
All right, we've got Soiza betting his 10-9 here. Does have an open ender, but there is a pair of queens for the real Wushu. We haven't seen much of our Austrian player yet.
I would like to see Wushu shove here. It just seems like there's too many chips in the middle once his opponent pot size bet. Normally, you expect Soiza to just bet 100K and you just check call, but Soiza here, I don't know if he can really shove this turn. Because when someone check calls this flop, queen, jack, jack with that stack size, it really looks like he's got a jack or a queen. And do you expect those hands to fold? My answer would be no. So he does check it back.
It's an interesting run out, 4-4. Queen 4 does make a full house. Seemed a bit unlikely on the flop, but we got there.
Yeah, I think Wushu probably would just shove and hope his opponent hero calls him.
With ace high?
With ace high, pretty much exactly. Because the truth is, Soiza probably would never bet a queen this way. It just wouldn't make sense to pot size bet the flop. It's usually a jack or nothing. So it does really seem like Soiza's got like ace 10. I don't know, just some kind of ace high.
Checks.
Does check. I mean, he's just basically thinking, man, I don't think this guy's got anything. Let me just hope for some kind of bluff. And it's really hard for more chips to go in given the action anyways.
Also a chance that he was worried about a jack, no? Like, even though that seemed a bit unlikely given the line that was taken, but he doesn't beat a jack there, so.
Yeah, I would say it's true. It's cool. I'm not sure, but European open up the queen six of diamonds on the button. And Wushu has been actually involved in a decent amount of pots here and chipped up slowly, got the sevens, considering jamming all in or just calling. And I like the jam here. I just think you're up against a guy who's opening ace eight in middle position, who's clearly a strong player, and he's just raising too often that you can fold this hand. You can't fold sevens. And the problem is if you just call, sevens is very vulnerable,
Yeah.
where you can get moved off at post flop, and also you let Soiza maybe come along or squeeze you off the hand. So sometimes in these spots with these marginal hands are too strong, you just got to shove and just hope your opponent doesn't call, which actually happens most often.
Got an opening with ace jack here on the button, but that obviously makes a lot of sense. See if Michael Adamo gets a little bit out of line once again and decides to defend his big blind with 3-5 offsuit. Yes, he does. Tags along for the ride. Doesn't flop a whole lot though.
Yeah, when you defend the hand like 5-3 offsuit, you won't flop too often. But there's something important to note is that people probably will raise your big blind a little bit less because they know you're in defense. So they're not going to be like, oh, I can raise like 7-9 offsuit because you're never going to call your big blind unless you have something good. So it's kind of one of those scary traits to have. But of course, you put in some chips with a weak hand. I mean, Adamo sees the check back on the flop. Why does it seem like he wants to bet, but he's not? I was like, He always wants to bet, and he's just thinking, should I?
I mean, maybe that's the key to success. Just always wanting to bet, but then kind of figuring out when you should and when you shouldn't. He's going to let this one go. Obviously, the 3-5 didn't really connect with anything. Good job so far by our Austrian player, though. He's been chipping up. I mean, he didn't really enter the final or the final 16 with a whole lot, but he has gained over 1 million chips since we started. I mean, that's not bad in 27 minutes.
Oh, it could be some fireworks between our two guys. Michael Adamo is going to 3-bet. And I don't know if I don't think European's going to fold. I don't know. It's just like you're up against the most aggressive player who's probably going to 3-bet you with trash like King 7 offsuit and things like this. I don't think the King Queen's folding. I think we're going to see an interesting pot coming up.
It's a big raise though, 300K. Let's see. I mean, I think you're right. I think he will call. I'd like to see him call. But it's a pretty big decision because that's a lot of chips right now, getting this close towards the final table. He makes the fold. I kind of like to see it. We go back to our other table, and this spells bad Niels Bear for Aurelio as he shoves his stance. But look at the hands on the other side. We've got jacks for Slappy White, and then we've got ace queen as well for Daniel DeVoris.
And 110 is dead, and 1 jack is dead. So Aurelio's going to need a 1-outer to stay in this tournament.
You like Daniel folding ace queen here?
I think you gotta fold this given the action. Undergun +1. We needs that 110 and 1 out. Sorry.
Queen on the river, I think. Ooh, king on the river. Daniel saying, I'm so good folding.
It shows the ace queen. It shows a 10.
That's really funny. These players having a good time with each other. Well, that is going to be it for our only Argentinian player in the tournament. He will bust in 11th place, walk away with $33,000. And this could be a shove for our shortest stack now, I believe. Shark bait, small blind. It folds to you. Ace jack. Seems like an easy decision.
Yeah. So Slappy White, the guy with less cashes than you, it's got 2 million chips as well. We got a good final table coming up. We're final 10. This is the final table bubble now. One more bust out, and we're there.
Yep, and obviously shark bait. I mean, he's shark bait, and I think the sharks are kind of circling around him right now. It's like, well, if you can just get out of the way, we can do our seat selection process, and we can get this going. And I feel like this is still such a feisty little setup here, right? With these three, they all have big stacks on this table as well.
Yeah, I want to go back to that king queen hand a little bit from Europeans folding, and I think that's another sign of someone who plays these high stakes tournaments is they err on the side of caution in like marginal spots when they can, because of the final table approaching the big pay jumps and things like this. Now, I don't think he thinks that, oh, sometimes Adamo only has the nuts here. I mean, like he only has the nuts here. I think he does think that sometimes he's ahead. It's just that it's too marginal of a spot against a guy who's willing to bet shove on you, and you might have to hero call down incorrectly and things like that. And sometimes you just go, it just folded because I'm not at, I'm in the money now, very far in the tournament.
It makes sense. It's a tricky hand to play there. And once again, 300,000 chips. I mean, I think it represented roughly 17, 18% of his total chip count. It's tough to make that call. And I like to see it as well. I like to see it.
I just want to also point out, Matt, if the hands were reversed, the situation, we might see a very different hand. You know, like Adamo might just, I don't think he would fold the king queen, honestly.
Let's see what's going to happen here with Adamo waking up with ace 8. So he's trying to tag along for the ride with 4 or 5 offsuit, with Michael Adamo having none of that. He's going to fire up the race. These two are kind of battling for the lead at this point. See it on our left side.
I mean, Adamo must know, right? He wants the chip lead to kind of make sure he gets that position. I mean, he always plays for the chip lead. He's currently the chip leader. Another king queen for European, and Wushu kind of keeps getting these marginal hands, but been playing them pretty well. 10-9 suited is going to fold.
This time king queen will make everything fold. I have the feeling that the other table is going to have slightly more fireworks, because obviously these players having both tables probably open as well, making sure they keep an eye on what's happening on the other side, and they will see that Sharkbait is there, currently sitting on what I believe is less than 10 big blinds, I guess 9 big blinds approximately. Well, then he's just kind of waiting, right? Like either he's going to double or you're going to bust him.
Yeah, agree. So all the middling stacks should actually be playing very tight. I've been saying over and over again, final table, the pay jumps are a bit bigger. And you're going to see all these middling stacks kind of play very solid. As you can see, the ace 6 and ace 3 are going to put a little bit of chips in there, but they're not like trying to like out aggressive each other pre-flop.
Kind of wonder how this hand is going to play out, because neither player really having a whole lot of anything. Couple of backdoors available for European. The real Wushu is going to try to continue his little pre-flop race, but this bet sizing is kind of small.
Yeah, you'll see a lot of these like 25% bets on these paired boards, especially with these shallow stacks. Okay. And you know, you see the ace 6 fold here. It's all you really need to bet to get it done, with all the pressure out there.
Yeah, well done. I mean, these are big pots in the end to pick up, right? Now he's back to 1.9 million. We are going to see a call here from Christopher on the button. Just limping with queen unsuited. How do we feel about that one?
Well, you know, this limping thing hasn't really been a popular strategy, you know, a couple years ago, but now it's actually become more regular for these regs to do it. And it keeps the pots as small as possible, but it lets these situations happen where they're like, you're never limping a strong hand, so I'm just going to jam the ace 8. So that's kind of like the tricky situation, because if he had raised pre-flop, I guarantee you Wushu would have just called and the situation could be different.
No, absolutely. I kind of like to see it there, though. It's like, I've got no time for this. It's like, yeah, I could check. My ace 8 is probably ahead. But nope. If I can take it down right now, I'm going to take it down. It may seem risky, but I think you make a very valid point. I mean, what is he going to do? Limp aces from the button? Like, that's just never going to happen, right? So
I wouldn't say never, but unlikely, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's the ultimate amateur strategy, where it's always like when you place a very low buy-in tournaments, people are like, let me just limp with aces, and then somebody else raises, and they're like, I'm all in. I was like, wow, I really wonder what you have. But I feel like in this phase in the tournament, when even just picking up lines is important, I think we're going to see very few limps with aces.
So Adamo is going to bet here with just his 10-9 high, no backdoor, no nothing. Is he going to bet the ace? I mean, it'll work, but it's a tough one to bet when you just got nothing, but he's capable.
I mean, he is obviously going up against one of the other biggest stacks in the tournament. So you don't want to make this too crazy, because Soiza can afford a call.
The thing is, the guy with the big stack also is the one that wants to keep that kind of big stack, and he does bet again. That's a beautiful play of just 10-9 high.
Yeah.
And Adamo really plays the in the money situations like perfectly because people fold a bit more. Of course, the fives really couldn't continue, but he just like the guy who's just like, oh, I'll wait for other people to bust out first. Adamo's the guy where I know all you guys are thinking that, so let me just put so much extra pressure on you guys, and he gets those extra folds, and that's why he ships so many tournaments, and that's why the time when he won a tournament, I said this guy's going to get first or ninth, and he did get first, and right now he's putting himself in that position to be the first two-time winner in the Super Millions, and this is the sixth time we've done this commentary series. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 6 times. It'd be pretty sick to win it twice out of 6 times. But regardless, a lot of guys have final table 2 times minimum. It's just such a star-studded final table coming up as well. Like, it's not like, oh, I'm beating up 8 Roddies at my final table.
Well, if you would beat all 8 of us up, that'd be impressive. I would favor 8 Roddies over 1 Michael Adamo. I mean, eventually, if we just keep shoving, we gotta get lucky once, right? All right, this could be actually kind of interesting as Soiza is opening up with Queen Jack offsuit, but European wakes up with pocket 7s in the big blind. Oh, he shoves it. I love it.
Yeah, so the big
Crazy,
shove, like,
but
again,
I love it.
yeah, it's a big shove, right? Like almost 30 big blinds. But the thing is, if your opponents aren't going to call you, like we saw like Wushu fold the 9s for like 20 big blinds. If they're not going to call you with 9s there, then what is their calling range? And their calling range is like, what, 10s plus and like ace king plus. They're probably not calling with ace queen. So you put more at risk, but the calling range becomes narrow when you shove more. And it's kind of like, it's a little bit bigger risk, but the reward is just quite often they would just fold.
Seems like we've had some interesting things happen at this table while we were taking a look at Europeans, Soiza and Adamo. Sharkbait managed to double up. Our Indonesian player is kind of running over this. Wow, Slappy White as well has gained an insane amount of chips. Where did all of these chips come from? They all gain chips. How is this possible, Nano?
Yeah, I'm not really sure where the chips were. It looks like Mateos probably lost a little bit of chips.
Lost a little, yeah.
Boris lost a little bit of chips. And it's the guys with the screen names that are running up the chips. And we got King 10 suited, King Queen.
Look at Sharkbait. Took down a couple pots, starts opening up King Queen. Now, this could be an interesting hand as he picks up the open ender.
This is actually a lot of marginal spots for all 3 of these guys. The thing is, Sharkbait has got, in my opinion, the most playability because if he fires some bets in there, he can probably take the spot down. And even here, it's pretty tough for Mateos with middle pair because it's a 3-way flop. A 3-way flop, their opponents' range is a lot stronger. So it's just like if he calls here and then he probably pretty much has to fold to all turns if he doesn't improve.
Unless it's a 10, right?
Unless it's 10 or king. Mateos it's a tough spot. It's not a small bet. It's about over half pot and a big fold there for the King 10, and well done from Sharkbait.
Yep. I mean, we were talking about him like we were all kind of waiting for him to go, but he has turned his 700,000 chips into 1.7 million now. Let's see what happens over here as all 3 players have not much. Daniel Devoras, is he going to go full Michael Adamo on us? No, he will not. He will fold the 8 deuce offsuit.
Magic Silo gonna limp the Queen 5, and Mateos is probably the shortest stack, or no, it's Christopher Brewer is the shortest stack right now on the other table, but it's a little bit slow. Shortest stack actually has a reasonable amount of big blinds, 20 big blinds. So this
that's
could be
way more than before. Yeah, that's way more. We had people with like 7, 8 big blinds before, so that could set up for a really interesting final table as well. Because normally when we enter the final table, we always have somebody with 8, 9 big blinds, right? And then somebody with 11 or 12 big blinds. So for the chips to be this evenly distributed is kind of cool. It seems like Michael Soiza is dropping a little bit, though. Don't forget, he came in as a massive chip leader, had over 3 million chips. He's now 5th in chips and only has 2.1, I believe.
Yeah, correct. And we see Silo betting the queen. Matthias with middle pair. Tricky spot, blind versus blind. Your opponents are going to be betting a lot, and then he rivers the 2 pair, and Silo's thinking, oh, I still think my queen is good.
Yeah, I mean, blind against blind, you flop top pair. Normally that kind of feels like you've got the nuts. It's not going to be the case. Let's see what happens. Will he fire a bet? Yo, he fires a big one as well. I mean, big one. More than half size. You probably just call here, right? Yeah, I like the
Yep.
just call. There's no reason to get even more crazy than that. Picking up 1.5 million chips is obviously insane. That's a massive win for Adrian. Well, you said he was a short stack. No more.
Yeah, just this is a battle going to this final table. You know, there's a pay jump here. Divorce, you know, he even he's still got a really good stack, right? Like 33 big blinds, but there's a lot of guys with 2 million chips, and he's in third
Yeah.
place.
This is actually incredibly even. I mean, right now, Magic P Silo is only the shortest stack, but before this hand, he was one of the biggest stacks at this table. That's really cool to see. This could set us up for a fantastic final table. We've got that Queen 9 looking it out with sixes. That's one hell of a flop for Daniel DeVoris.
Yeah, there's no way Shark Bake's gonna win this hand. There's just no way. Whether he calls, there's no. Yeah, it's over.
Just a few too many outs.
Yeah,
The
way
8
too many.
completes the straight.
The thing is, even if he didn't hit the straight, Divorce was going to bet that turn card with such a good draw, and the sixes is no way going to continue. Divorce just hoping his opponent has like a queen jack, 10-9 type hand, but doesn't get his opponent to call.
9-7 would have been the dream. Would have been a bit brutal. But... All right, let's go back to our other table where we have Soisa trying to make up some ground that he's lost so far. He's going to open it up with ace-4 suited. The real Wushu with over 2 million chips. Let's keep our eye on him. He's been having one hell of a run so far.
Yeah, I don't think his resume looked that good on the Twitch, on the profile for him, but I do suspect he's a very strong player, and he's clearly showing that. And here they've got a lot of action potential. Soisa's got the nut flush draw. Probably going to bet this flop because it's a good hand to bet, but he checks back. Soisa's very tricky. He checks back some strong hands and weak hands. So if Soisa makes a flush, this could get very dicey.
Well, the turn is safe, but the real Wushu is going to check his top pair one more time. I wouldn't be surprised to see Soisa bet here. But I do feel if you want to get the real Wushu off his hand, you got to bet big, though. 270?
Yeah.
Well, checks it.
Keeps checking. So I guess they're just playing very conservatively as we approach this final 9 soon. I would like to see Wushu bet now. It just seems so often Soisa's got like a jack or a 9, and you got to try to get some value. He is going to go for the value.
I like to see it. We'll get it done as well. Michael Soisa not doing anything super crazy here on the river. It's really interesting to see how all of this has been unfolding over the last 40-ish minutes. Some of the big stacks are no more. Some of the small stacks are now the biggest stacks. And then we obviously lost 6 players already at this point as well. If we lose one more player, we will get ready for our seat selection process into the final table. At this point, I have no idea who's going to bust. I mean, Magic P Silo is only the shortest stack of the tournament. Christopher is just kind of hanging in there as well, but if these guys double up, they're immediately like a top 3, top 4 stack again. So,
yeah, it's anyone's game, and I think Christopher Brewer is just playing very conservatively now. I think he folded the pocket pair, like sixes it was just now. So, yeah, he's gonna be waiting it out for Ace King suited.
Well, this is a hand that you're not going to fold. Wow, it seems like Mateus won a massive pot on the other table. He is now the chip leader in our tournament. This is really cool to see.
Yeah. Oh, he won that big one off Silo, and it looks like he won some more chips off of Magic Silo, probably, given the chip counts. Okay, is Adamo going to defend the Jack 4 offsuit? Because this hand's pretty bad. But he did defend the Queen 5 offsuit. Yep.
Yeah. And he actually gets ahead as well as he pairs his 4 on the flop. Oh. Why didn't Christopher just shove it? Can we talk about this?
Sometimes you're like, ace king suited a little bit too good. I do think shoving pre-flop is definitely fine. Probably just think he had too many big blinds to just open jam.
Well, he's going to be in a little bit of trouble now because I have the feeling that Michael Adamo is going to bet this turn after it went check on the flop, pair of 4. And that's obviously not a board that really connects with an under the gun open. That's the shortest stack of the tournament, right? Like, unless there is an overpair, of course, you know. If it's aces, kings, queens, I'm not that worried about that board. But it's often a lot more likely it is ace king or it is ace queen. Ace king makes the call. Queen comes on the river, but obviously doesn't really change anything. Do you think he has it in him to shove his ace king as a bluff here?
I don't think so because he probably beats enough hands. Adamo, man, if Adamo's going for a value bet here, this would be super sick. This would be wow. He's going to value bet the Jack 4 high, which was 90,000.
This is almost like a blocker bet as well, no?
Yeah,
like
a blocker
get...
value bet. I think he puts his opponent exactly on like ace king, ace jack high, and of course his opponent sometimes will have ace queen. And wow,
gets the call.
This is beautiful. This is beautiful.
And this is when you are disgusted that you didn't shove ace king. You're like, this is what happens. Big stacks calling me from the big blind with jack 4 offsuit and somehow ending out on top. Well done, of course, by Michael Adamo. Beautiful hand by him.
Should be all in the call. There's no way Adamo's folding this. King deuce offsuit, small blind, big blind, 11 big blinds. And you can't. Adamo could get there though. He's not that far behind. 35% roughly, I think.
Well, he's live. Kings and deuces. Well, that's one hell of a flop for Christopher. Redeemed himself for the man. We've seen some insane flops here where it's like, is it a raise? Is it close? Like, bam, drawing that on the flop. That's insane.
Yeah, it seems like Adamo, he like gets those chips, playing some good poker, just bluffing, and just loses the all-ins. Still got 2.2 million chips. He is going to stay a little quiet now. And Brewer, Christopher here. Yeah, you know, played the ace king, lost some chips, and now he's back in it again.
Curious to see how this is going to play out. Some blind against blind action. Obviously, two very mediocre hands. Feeling it. He's like, I'm on fire. I just flopped the full house. He's going to raise his 9-7 offsuit, and we'll get it through. Well done there by Christopher. European doesn't want to get in any trouble with his absolute trash hand. There's no other way to put it. Michael Adamo with pocket 5s. Will most likely open it up here. Just 2xing. Let's see what European decides to do with ace 4. Obviously, he knows that Michael Adamo is opening up a lot of hands. Ace 4 could be ahead against some of them, but playing ace 4 out of position is also kind of iffy, no?
Yeah, he's thinking about 3-bet or folding, and folding is definitely, I think he just got to with these stack sizes. Everyone has 2 million. Everyone has the same exact chip stack on this table here. 10-8 offsuit folds, and that's a good sign of Wushu just thinking, you know what, Adamo, I'm going to stay out of your way, because 10-8 offsuit is a very defendable hand. But with this current stack size situation, even though Adamo lost, you know, just a 900 chips, just 1,000 chips just now, but he's the one that's still on the pedal, still trying to create that big stack and get up there. And this is he has a very different approach, as you can see, as to some of the other guys. Onto this hand, and Silo's got king queen suited against Divorce.
Yes, I mean 19 big blinds roughly for our shortest stack in the tournament at this point. No, it seems like Sharkbait has lost some blinds again. So Sharkbait is back to being the shortest stack. Would you just calling here is okay though, right? With king queen suited.
It is okay. It's like the strongest non-premium hand you can pretty much have. This is like, it's very similar to like pocket 9s. He might just jam if he thinks Divorce is raising not aces, and Silo needs some help. We've seen King Queen beat aces in previous final table streams. Can it do it? I don't know.
The ace of diamonds, of course, as well for Daniel DeForest. We do have 2 diamonds on the flop. All right, just need a diamond that's not a 3. A diamond, that is
Four?
not a 3. That is
That's
a
not a
heart.
diamond. Needs to be a jack. Nope.
Yeah, that as well,
GG.
indeed. Wow. What a flop. Top set against the not flush draw and the gut shot as well. And that means that as soon as this hand is done, we have our final 9 players. And it's a very unfortunate moment for Shark P Silo. Pot limit Omaha player, still one hell of a run, finishes in 10th place.
Yeah, Magic Silo, Indonesian player. Didn't make our final table, but good run nevertheless. And we still got this hand to play. It's top pair for European. Middle pair for Adamo, who probably is not going to fold on the flop. So we should see a little bit of action.
I mean, I think that depends on the bet sizing, though, no? Don't you think if European fires here like over 300,000 that you don't call, even if you're Michael Adamo?
Well, good thing he bet 175K. But yeah, I see what you're saying, of course. But I think for this bet size, you can't fold because you often have the best hand. And if you don't, you got outs to improve. You even got that backdoor straight draw to the wheel.
Yeah. All right. Well, the spade does get there. But European also has the ace of spades. So don't think he's particularly worried about that.
Yeah, European could easily just bet again on the turn. He could just check back as well. I don't think there's a wrong way to play it, given that you might check, given it's a final. You're about to be at the final table, but I think betting is definitely pretty good too.
I mean, I feel with this many chips in the middle, I'd love to see a bet here. I think this is too many chips to potentially get a horrible river card. You know, what if the five of hearts pops off on the river?
Pretty much, yeah, exactly. So we're down to the final table.
And we're also down to our seat selection process. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to witness these guys live picking their seats, obviously starting off with the shortest stack. It's really funny when you're like the shortest stack. It's like, you can now change your seats. And I'm like, well, this doesn't matter at all. You know, like I went to the final table once, it's the shortest stack. I'm like, what is this? No matter where I put myself, everybody else is going to swap, but it's still nice to swap. And Sharkbait will swap with Michael Adamo.
So Soiza is in 8th place. He's the second guy that gets the pick. Honestly, he does not switch seats. Like, you know what? I don't need to switch seats. There's just too many. You guys are going to move around anyways. I'll let it happen.
So while we're watching the seat selection process take place, we are giving away 3 $20 tickets. All you guys have to type in chat is the name of the player that just busted. Magic P Silo, all one word. And yeah, giving away 3 $20 tickets. So go ahead. Go spam that Magic P Silo. Had a great run. Went up, went down. Built up a very decent stack again. And unfortunately ran into aces. But hey, if you have to lose it to one hand, may as well be aces, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that means Daniel DeVoris is the chip leader of the tournament. He's going to get the last pick.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like some of these guys have been doing some thinking on how to approach this seat switching thing, because they know, like, oh, the chip leader is going to get position on me, so I want to move in a spot where I want to get position on someone else. So DeVoris should be changing with Slappy White, in my opinion. But I'm not sure what he thinks is the right play. Time expired. Last time the chip leader time expired, Connor Beresford, he got 5th place. Okay. Daniel DeVoris has time expired the seat selection, and he might not. Oh, he should have just switched of anyone. I'm not liking this.
I mean, but to be honest, he's still in a pretty decent spot. Like, he's now on the left of Adrian Mateos, who also has a big stack.
Yeah. Definitely a lot of strategy in the seat selection, I'm pretty sure. It seems like things were a little bit different this time on how they decided to pick. Yeah. Regardless, first hand of the final table, Brewer will be taking this one. And I want to say, yeah, there's a chip leader, Daniel DeVoris, but the short stack, there's only Sharkbait that's really short. Everyone else has got the same stack.
Yeah, no, it's much more evenly distributed than we've seen in some of the other final tables where we hopped in. We're like, well, we're probably going to lose 3 players in the first 7 minutes of this final table. Not expecting that to happen this time. So how do you like it overall? Right now, we're down to our final 9. You still feeling it? Like your pick and my pick are right next to each other, this final table, but my guy's got position. I'm just saying, Nano. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's right.
We'll actually just take a look at. I don't think it's break time yet. It is actually break time. All right. Well, guys, that means perfect timing. We saw one hand at the final table. We just did our first little giveaway. We're down to 9 players. You guys see it on your screen. I think this is as open as any final table that we got so far. But for now, guys, we're going to head over to a very quick break. So Nano and me have some time to recover, count big blinds, and then we'll be back to continue the coverage of the High Roller Super Million 6th edition played over at GG Poker. All right, guys, I'm back. Nana will be back soon as well. And then we will just continue our coverage of the High Roller Super Million Final Table, the 6th edition. This tournament happens every Sunday. $10,000 buy-in event, $2 million guaranteed. And I'm expecting this tournament to get really feisty over the upcoming weeks as well, with all the crazy World Series of Poker action happening over at GG Poker right now. I've been playing a lot of GG Poker myself as well. It's honestly a super fun client. We saw a little bit of emoji spam before, and I kind of hope that these guys, even though they are playing for such an insane amount of money, that they're still having some fun as well, and that they will throw some emojis at each other. The not sure if is probably my favorite, but yeah, we'll see. Sharkbait, of course, right now at the bottom, only 12 big blinds. Michael Soiza came in as chip leader when we only had 16 players left. He has lost over 1.5 million chips since we started our broadcast. Nano is back right in time for the action to continue. Nano, how you feel about your original pick, Michael Adamo?
I still like my original pick, but I don't really. I'm not gonna. If he busts, it's okay because I like what we got at this final table. Superstar studded cast. This is one of those dream final tables here, and we got Slappy White still in there. The guy who, this is cool. Right? It's the very first tournament he played, and he's got a final table. Ace Jack shove. Adrian Mateos, Ace Jack suited in the small blind.
He's probably just going to shove as well, and then Daniel Devora should get out of the way. Ace Deuce against 2 shoves. It's probably just not going to be good enough. Are we going to get a flush?
Nope, not possible. But yeah, okay. So everyone's got very similar stack here. It's actually usually it's a little bit clearer on how certain plays will be when there's a guy with like 5 big blinds and things, or just one clear chip leader. But if people are raising now, it should get a lot of respect. And Brewer, who's got under the gun ace-8 suited, is going to raise. And this is I'm curious to see European folds ace-10 suited. So that's the thing I'm saying, is that when everyone's got these middle stacks, the very same stack, people tend to play a little bit tighter against the original raises, because the original raises should be stronger, but you can kind of one up that and say, well, I know that looks stronger, so I'm going to open with ace-8 suited, for example.
Yeah, I got to say, like, we haven't seen that many hands yet of Christopher, but that's a feisty opening under the gun, ace-8 suited, and gets it through, managed to get at least one better hand to fold. Michael Adamo is going to open up with ace-9 offsuit under the gun, but Christopher wakes up with ace-jack. Oh my goodness, we've got so many big hands. Adrian Mateos has ace-jack offsuit. We've got ace-king in the small blind for Sosa, and then we've got ace-jack suited in the big blind. This could get really gnarly.
Yeah, I mean, Adamo tried to employ that same strategy that Christopher just did with the ace-8 suited. Ace-9 offsuit, the weakest of all these big aces. Mateos might even 3-bet this hand or call or fold. And this is pretty much free chips for Soiza. He's just getting all these free chips. And no, this is a good 3-bet for Mateos because he knows Adamo would raise at these spots. But it's just... Thank you. Soiza's like, thank you for giving me all this action that I shouldn't have gotten, right? It should have been just a Mateos open and, I win a lot less chips. So Adamo spiced it up a little bit and got Soiza to pick up some extra chips here.
Is there a universe where he calls with ace-jack offsuit here?
No, there's no way. It's just, you're just thinking, oh man, this sucks so bad, but you gotta fold, even though it's not like that many more chips to you, but you just have to. You're at the final table with over $500,000 up top for first.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, once again, best case scenario there is that you're flipping, but there is a much bigger chance that you're kind of dominated, because that's such a strong move from Michael Soiza. No matter how crazy you may think that he could be as well, after an under the gun open and a 3-bet in middle position to then shove from, was it the small blind? Yes, it was.
Yeah.
That obviously screams insane strength.
And now here, just another situation with a bunch of good hands, but not premium hands that it's really hard to predict what they'll do, because Christopher here could potentially just call. He could re-raise, and they both would be pretty strong plays. I mean, of course, the re-raising would look very strong, but then again, ace-10 suited is on one of those hands where, well, if I re-raise and have to fold it pre-flop, it sucks because it has so much playability. But if I've got the ace blocker, you're just going to just
Shoves
shove
it.
it. This is such a nice play. Of course, when it doesn't work, it sucks. But look how many chips he's going to pick up. If he takes this down, he picks up additional 600,000 chips, which is a lot. And Christopher Brewer, he was playing a little bit snug at some spots before, but he's been very aggressive lately, especially on the final table bubble. It's just, I like the way he's playing. I don't know much about him besides that he plays regularly live at the bike. He's a cash game player, I assume. I think it's lovely. And just divorce can't be thing. Okay, I was going to say, you're just wasting your time making a little bit there. But well done for Christopher, who is now at the top. He's been hanging in there, and I don't know much about him, but I'm liking the way he plays because I know he's a very thinking player. And cash game players, they think about hands different than tournament players, and they can get a little bit feisty in some spots, and that's what you want to see.
I feel that Christopher overall has played pretty fearless so far. Like, he hasn't played with the idea of like, oh, I want to survive one more spot, or I don't want to bust it. Like, no, he's been showing us a lot of aggression. And good news for our shorter stack at this final table. Sharkbait is able to get it through with King Queen. You definitely don't want to see any, or you don't want to see too many calls. Maybe one could be okay from the big blind, but you don't really want to see too many calls. Michael Soisa wakes up with kings here. Slappy White does have an ace in the big blind.
Yeah, it's a very weak ace. Is going to make the defense. Flops a little pair.
And the backdoor. The backdoor flush draw.
The backdoor, yes. It's actually very important because Sater wasn't a backdoor flush draw. He ace to black. He might just check fold the flop. But Soisa might not even bet the flop just because usually the standard is to bet, but I'm saying he's very tricky. We've seen him check back some strong hands like the nut flush draw. So it wouldn't have surprised me if he decided to check back the flop. But he is going to go for the bet.
I like the bet here, though, with 500,000 chips in the center. Whoa, the king of hearts on the turn. All right. So Soisa improves to top set, but that's in a way a scary card, right? Because Queen Jack gets there. All the flush draws get there. That is like... Yeah, making a set is always great, but that's kind of a scary card. Set.
It's a scary card, but I feel like you just got to keep betting and just hope your opponent doesn't have it because say you check, there's so many bad river cards, a queen, a jack,
any heart.
Any heart, even a 6 is not a good card because your opponent could have 7, 8. You just got to protect your hand.
Yeah.
And Slappy White is getting he's just got to continue calling here. It sucks because he knows he's usually behind, but he's occasionally ahead against the ace jack, and this is nasty. Picks up aces and deuces. What now?
What now is that Soisa is probably just going to shove it. I mean, sure, it's still a scary board, but I think his hand is just too strong to not shove here. There's 2 million. Oh, he checks it back. Okay.
Wow. He's going to feel a little sick about that. Yeah. It's tricky. So in the situation here, this is what Soisa was thinking. He's thinking, okay, how many hands do I beat would actually call the river bet? And how many hands that I lose to will call? Obviously, no straight or no flushes would fold to a river shove. But does he think a 1-pair hand will call him? If he doesn't think a 1-pair hand will ever call him, then maybe the check is just fine because it's not that many 2-pair combos. What King 10 is so unlikely. He's got 2 kings. Oh, who cares about that? Like queens and jacks here. Slappy White.
Oh man, if a jack comes off right now, that would be the most brutal 2 hands that I've seen in a while. The flop is safe though. 4-4 deuce. 6 doesn't really change anything. It's a jack and a jack only. That would be the end.
Possible not. So Slappy White, this is Slappy White. Remember, you know what I'm gonna say. He's the guy with 0 cashes, first time playing the tournament. The guy with less cashes than Roddy, but clearly has beat Roddy's all-time money list on GG now. But 2.8 million chips. He's gonna raise his button, and Wushu should be shoving here.
Nana, you just wait until the World Series of Poker is wrapped up, okay? I'll be flexing 2 bracelets over here, and then you can.
Hey man, you get 1 final table that you can flex that. That's good enough for me, Roddy.
All right, I'm gonna do my absolute best in the upcoming month. It's going to be such a fun month of online poker. We've got some feisty action here as well with King Queen offsuit running into Ace Queen
Oh,
suited
what?
calls.
Did he just call Slappy White? What
Wow.
the?
All right. Well, he just picked. Oh, and he picks up the king. Are you kidding me?
Oh, I just hit myself in the face after I saw that king. Oh my god.
We need an ace on the river. It could be the ace of hearts.
It
it's
could
possible.
be. He's peeling.
No.
That's nasty. That is some disgusting poker right there.
Wow. Wow.
Look, the first time you enter a tournament, you don't know what to expect. I think he was potentially a wild card. That was a wild call right there. I don't know about that call, but he got lucky, turned that king. It just seems like such a crazy call.
Yeah, especially calling it off, right? Like if you're shoving king queen and you get called, then it's like, yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, to call off with king queen, it's like, when are you really going to be super far ahead if it's king jack? But how often are they going to do it with king jack?
Probably not often, because it's 21 big blinds too. And look, back to the action, it's king 10 opening, ace jack 3 betting. It kind of seems like European Adamo just fighting out, but Adamo's got the worst position here, gets the fold. Slappy White, new chip leader, 5 million chips. I think we picked the wrong guy. I think it's all about Slappy White for this final table.
Well, he is the only one who did have Roddy on his info sheet in the pre-show. So maybe I should have realized that something was up. This obviously does mean that we just lost the real Wushu. He finishes in 9th place. He will walk away with $44,000. Mostly a PLO player, according to the stats. But
no, I think he's a regular player, not a PLO player. But yeah, go on.
Ah, sorry. Okay, then I confused him with Maximilian, our other Austrian. Hey, wow, we have no Austrian in the final 8. What is happening over here? Where are my 6 Austrian flags?
But yeah, no, Wushu played really, really good. Actually, he took a lot of good spots. He was, he was clearly a strong tournament player. Just got super screwed on that last one. You know how tilted he's got to be? He's got to be mega tilted because sometimes, okay, you get coolered out. You're like, oh, man, I'm just so unlucky, aces, kings. But, like, sometimes certain hands don't pan out the way it's supposed to pan out and you lose. It makes it extra salty for you.
Yeah, ace queen against king queen. Suited against unsuited as well. You're getting called off by king queen and then it gets there. That is brutal. Now, this could be a very feisty hand as European picks up the nut flush draw and has a couple of backdoors as well. Meanwhile, Christopher is sitting at top pair, and Christopher already showed us this tournament. He's got no fear, Nano.
Agree, yeah. Christopher, the standard here is to check call, but he might check raise. I don't know him too well, but shoving. Is going to go for the check raise. And just playing. I remember you said sometimes why don't you check raise so you don't let your opponent to kind of get there? Just you got the best hand, and with these kind of shallow stacks, and that's what Christopher's kind of doing here. Is just like, look, I don't want to get blown off my hand. Is going to call to shove very quickly with no kicker, and European needs a 25%er.
He needs an ace or a club. An ace or a club, and it is a club. The rich get richer. That is going to be it. Christopher played some pretty damn fine, entertaining poker. Had a good run because he didn't get in here with a whole lot of chips. Actually, no, at the beginning he had quite some. He had 1.5 million. So maybe a little bit disappointed to see it end here. And we see the ship it emoji by the European. Love to see that. Fortunate river card, Nano. Fortunate river card.
Yeah, well, it was pretty much a coin flip on the flop, but the hand played itself. I mean, when you go for that check raise with the queen 10, you know where you're at. You got to call it off, and Brewer played good. He's just like Wushu. Played very good, approaching the final table, got to the final table, and unfortunately couldn't hold to stay in the tournament. But I liked what he played. I hope he keeps playing these tournaments because we've been seeing these familiar faces get to this final table over and over again. And we have got some big chip stacks for some really cool players like European here, and I'm liking this. This is getting good. This is getting very good.
And Bruno as well. Like I feel like I'm having flashbacks of my own session this week, and I'm like, oh, not again. I mean, Christopher Brewer does walk away with $56,000. So hopefully this will allow him to at least give it another shot next week. Would love to see more because I'm with you. I think both the real Wushu, I want to say the last Wushu, but the real Wushu and Christopher Brewer played excellent poker and gave us a couple of entertaining moments. Unfortunately, the cards were not with them. That means we're down to our final 7, and we've got 2 massive stacks. Then I think Daniel Devoris and Michael Soiza definitely have very playable stacks as well. I think after that it starts falling off. But this is not going to slow down Michael Adamo. He's going to raise up ace deuce.
Adamo is the guy where he's gonna try to double up. He's got the ace jack, and the European. I don't think he's gonna fold to Adamo. The question is, do you call or do you 3-bet?
I think it's as well.
Kind of like call. I like calling because ace 10 suited is seems a little bit too strong to 3-bet and fold, especially against a guy like Adamo who's going to reshove on you with like pocket pair like 8s and 9s. You don't want to fold a flip. Yeah, okay, nice hand. Pat the table. Just a nice hand, Adamo. I know you're capable of having some garbage, but I'm gonna have to pay you off here.
Yep. Oh, well, we're not there yet. He checks it. Okay, what a tricky check here with ace jack. That's the last thing that I really expected to happen here.
The thing is, chips can still go in because now that they've checked the round is flop likely, might be some big bets coming on turn and river. And they're both going to feel they underplayed their ace, so they're going to feel more obligated to commit a lot of chips to it. Turn is a heart. So we know Adamo, well, I don't want to say we know he's going to bet. He probably is going to bet, but he might check it still. It's a creative mind. You can't really predict the creative mind sometimes. He's going to bet.
What about a deuce of hearts on the river, Nano? Would you like that?
Yeah, that would be pretty sick. I don't think Slappy White will continue though, because there should be a bet and a call, and it'd be too heroic to call pocket fives here, given the action. But Slappy White did call the king queen earlier. Okay.
Yeah.
And now, how much value can Adamo get here?
I think 450.
450 is a very reasonable bet. It's a good bet, but I feel like he's going to go for more. That's just the vibe I'm getting. Okay. Unless he's targeting like a king queen exactly. But Adamo's got such a bad image. He can go for more value, in my opinion. And
that's a good point. Thinks. I mean, he does raise, like, how often is he going to have ace 10 beat here? Because with the way that he plays, how aggressive he plays, how many hands he raises. Wow, goes for a massive bet. Now I really wonder what European is going to do here, because that's obviously an insane amount of chips to call off here and be wrong.
I don't know how you can fold it against this guy. I mean, it'd be a sick read from European, and European's going to use some of that time bank. Let's try to break down his hand.
He's going to find a fold. I really think he's going to find
a
fold.
Wow, that's amazing.
There's something special about a lot of these super successful online tournament dudes that just crush it. They just kind of know in general, unless it's a like really sick setup, right? Where you can't get away from it. This feels like they are right way more than they are wrong in these kind of spots. Incredibly well played, right? Because I feel there are very few players.
He should have lost way more chips there. And the hand could have been very different. Yeah, I don't know. It's just that's a very sick fold, because it was like Adamo was obviously clearly capable of bluffing this way. It just seems like European had a very strong read on his opponent. Clearly, they play with each other a lot, and that's why its final table is so cool. There's just so much metagame going on. That's a really sick fold. And that's a very good turn card.
Soiza completes the straight here on the turn. Then again, Adamo doesn't have much going for himself, so he will snap fold. That's what I like about Adamo as well. He plays fast, man. Like when he's done with a hand, he's just done with it.
Yeah, and how, like I said this, I say this over and over again. He keeps playing pots, despite being the middling stack, chip leader, short stack. He will always play pots here to win chips. And we got Slappy White and Daniel Devoris. Bit of nothing, but maybe a little action, right? Maybe.
Two of the biggest stacks currently at the table. Obviously, Slappy White is the chip leader at this point. Can always fire a little bit in there. And even these kind of bets is so hard to call, right? With King 10, it's just like, oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that's the thing. The problem, of course, small bets are give you a good price on your bluff. The problem, though, is that you invite a little bit more floats, especially from strong players like Devoris, where you might lose the pot now. And I think Devoris is going to win it.
And the check on the turn definitely seems a little weak after the very small bet on the flop. But Daniel Devoris is going to check it back. His king is still good, though.
Yeah, the king high definitely has enough showdown value. Then again, you can also turn into a bluff. Slappy White's like, oh, it does seem like you got an ace. It's very hard for me to continue. And Divorce is basically thinking, should I turn my hand into a bluff? And it's reasonable to turn your hand into a bluff because you do lose to a lot of hands that will fold to your river bet, like King Jack, King Queen, sevens, eights, nines, and this is the proper bet. If he had King Queen, he probably would check back, but I think with King 10 is just a little bit too weak. And this is what you know how like they always say to beginners, like it's the power position in poker, and that was clear sign there.
Well, this is a fun round where most players don't have much, but a shorter stack does have ace deuce suited with 11 big blinds or almost 11 big blinds. He is going to shove it. And if Adrian doesn't call, he will definitely get it through. And Adrian does not call. So that's good news. Sharkbait's been a little quiet so far at this final table, but
he's been getting pay jumps.
Yeah, no, he has been leveling indeed on that ladder. And he also didn't really have much to play with so far.
Yeah, Sharkbait just hanging in there. But, ace deuce suited, definitely not a strong hand. So you can sell that he's just looking for spots to kind of try to gain chips. Doesn't have much to work with, but gets it done. Slappy White had 5 million chips down
Round
to
4. Round 2 between Daniel Devoris and Slappy White. Queen 10 is going to tag along, but is not going to flop anything. And Daniel
same winner
Devoris
coming up, right?
Yeah, unless, I mean, runner here. That seems unlikely. Well. That's not a bad turn card at all for Slappy White. He picks up the gut shot and, of course, has the 10 high flush draw as well.
Is going to keep checking. Like I know when you pick up equity, sometimes you feel obligated to bet when there's not much aggressive action. But the thing is, when you think about it, when someone checks back ace 4-3 suited on a very c-bettable board, oftentimes they have like an ace. Because if they had like 10-9 offsuit or whatever, they probably would just bet the flop. So it does seem likely that your opponent is willing to continue.
I do think Slappy White is going to call here. Peel one off. Unfortunately, the river is a deuce of clubs. Doesn't really help anything. Why did Daniel Devoris not continue betting the flop, though? I find that a bit odd.
Well, I mean, I think betting the flop is definitely the standard. But the thing is, sometimes you're just like, well, I don't want a continuation bet too high of a frequency, so let's just kind of tone it down. And of course, if you're going to tone it down, you check back some medium aces. You can really go either way. You got to keep in mind they both are the big stacks of the tournament. So then again, he might be thinking, look, I don't want to bet the flop, get check raise, get bet on the turn, and tough decision there. And maybe, who knows what happens. And sometimes you'll see players take that approach with medium strength hands.
Of course, guys, WCS OP has officially started over at GG Poker. I think there is a very big PLO tournament starting any moment now. I think the Colossus has also been going on. Obviously, multiple days of the Colossus. I've seen A, B, C, D coming along, which I think is really cool. I mean, the Colossus in real life, when it's played in Vegas, I thought it was quite a sight to see, right? There's a massive field of I think it was 7,000 people or something participating in it last year. Yeah, that's just insane, but it's really cool as well to see people turning $400, into millions. It's happening online as well. So if you don't have an account yet, make sure to check it out. A lot of cool qualifiers, of course, as well. Lots of satellites running all the time. It's going to be a very fun month over at GG Poker.
Well, nothing's happening in this hand, I assume. But the World Series, it has a it's something special about playing for a bracelet. Yeah, sure, usually you don't win the bracelet, but there's always that chance, that glimmer of hope. And when you're playing, it's like a little bit extra excitement, right? Like if you're playing a $1,000 tournament, right? Normally it's still exciting, but when you're playing a $1,000 bracelet event, you feel like, I want to check my chip count. Am I cruising up every level? Or like if you when you're live in Vegas, you would like kind of like tweet to your friends or whatever, like, oh, I'm still in. So it's got that special thing to it, and I like that. And it's cool that online tournaments, like the prestige wasn't as big, way back when, but now it's very big, and it's cool to see it come into the live circuit. We got these bracelet events that are very well recognized, and I think it's a very good thing for poker. And I'm just happy to see it, and I'm happy to see the eighth shove here.
Well, I have the feeling that Michael Adamo is going to call this one off with ace queen suited. It's a million more, but he already opened up, and Sharkbait is the shortest stack at the table. So I think Michael will find a call here.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to think how often Sharkbait is shoving bad hands. Sharkbait has been playing pretty solid, I would say, not too crazy. But when you're Michael Dama, you're opening ace three, ace eight off, so you got to call it the ace queen. Otherwise, you're just folding too often, and he's in trouble.
Well,
Big trouble.
Michael is going to need some help here on the river. He's going to need an ace or a queen only. And it is a hard, but that's not going to help. Instead, it's the set for Sharkbait on the other side of the table. So we are not losing anyone yet. Sharkbait doubling up, and now Michael Adamo being the shortest stack at the table.
Yeah, and Michael Adama, he's obviously been playing very good post flop poker, but he's been getting destroyed in all of the all ins. He cannot win any of them. Of course, he's gotten in bad in flips only mainly, but it's just not going his way. Still got the 12 big blinds. Divorce should be able to put some pressure. No, okay. I think this is a chance for Adamo for a double up, because I'd be surprised if Soiza doesn't shove, and I'd be surprised if he doesn't call the ace eight. Get the chips back, Michael. Let's go. No.
That's not the way to start this off. Queen on the flop. Well, ace or a king. At least a couple of extra outs. We need an ace or a king. What is it? It's
it's a king.
Okay. Well,
I fist pumped the air on that one for him.
well, you did kind of pick him, right? And I know what you want, Nano, because most of the weeks your pick goes out early, my pick goes all the way. So my brother is starting to make me look a little bad here. So I get it. No worries. You don't need to hide your excitement from me, Nano.
Nah, but like you hate to see it when someone gets brutalized, right? Like they just keep losing all ins and like lose those kind of situations where he was a clear favorite, and could have been another bust out, but we still got how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can't count. Is that 7? 7 players left.
7, yes. I just want to mention as well quickly that never mind. I already mentioned that. There's apparently a 1550 stack opening up tomorrow. That's event number 36, because we already kind of mentioned the PLO event that's starting. But yeah, there's lots of different tournaments, and once again, there's lots of qualifiers, lots of satellites for all the WCS OP events. So yeah, that dream for a bracelet is more alive than ever. You don't even need to go to Vegas to win a bracelet anymore. Amazing.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. And Slappy White is like, I want to win a pot against Daniel, so these commentators don't keep saying I lose to Daniel Divorce. He picks up the pot there of the jacks, and I guess based on the chip stack, no one is actually short. Adrian Mateos got 20 big blinds, so should be some fun poker for a bit.
Much more evenly distributed than we've had it in previous weeks, that's for sure. And that should really allow these guys to play some proper poker as well. I feel like our last final table was crazy. Of course, guys, the video is still available on YouTube, on Twitch as well. But last week, it really felt that we were basically covering the final table for 45, 50 minutes. And there was not a single hand that was played all the way to the river. It was just shove, 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 shove. People double, people fold, shoving on flops, shoving on turns. There was very few actual poker. I think looking at this lineup that we got right now, looking at the stack sizes, there's plenty of play available. And Mateos actually getting the 7s through here.
Beautiful.
Sharkbait to fold an 8. Well done.
Yeah, this is a lot of post-flop poker here, and this is, sometimes we get to these final tables. We got like one or two guys that were really star-studded, like headlining the final tables. But here it's just like this is a really cool one. Adrian Mateos, Daniel Divorce, Michael Souza, Michael Adamo, European. Sharkbait we don't know too much about, but Slappy White, the guy with no cat, first time playing a tournament on GG Poker. This is a good one. Like whoever wins will be well deserved.
Yep. It's really cool to see as well that the guy that came in as chip leader is still with us as well, because Souza was bleeding chips at one point pretty heavily, but managed to turn it around and now still absolutely has a very realistic shot at potentially taking it down.
And I want to point impressive. Out, Souza, did you notice Souza's first time playing the Super Millions and final tables? It was really cool because remember I said the first time he went to Triton, he played the 6-max like 32,000 USD buy-in, shipped the tournament. Like this guy's like, I don't play every tournament. When I do, I just always minimum final table. Here we got some action. Checks around on the flop. Teos is going to bet, open in a straight draw. Slappy White turns the top pair, isn't going to fold. River card should be interesting.
Sharkbait here as well with an interesting spot, but doesn't really have the chips to continue there. The ace of clubs. I mean, that is a great card to bluff with.
I agree. I certainly agree with you. The reason is when you bet the turn and you're bluffing, you often have a flush draw. The flush got there. Plus, the ace overcards the last top pair card, so it puts a lot of pressure on your opponent. Say Slappy White had like a 10-jack, a queen 10, a king 10. This is very tough to call another bet, but Teos is going to give up. But if you were going to bluff, this would be one of those key cards to bluff on.
Yeah, I mean, I understand it's scary to pull the trigger there, but it was one of the absolute best scenarios to go for it. Obviously, it's easy, right? We've got whole card info. We see that there's only a 10 and it would absolutely work. If he would be bluffing a stack off there into a set, we'd be like, no, what are you doing, Mateos? So it makes sense. It's hard to get there, but I mean, that 5-6 was already kind of a bluff. So at that point, yeah, you may as well go all the way.
Yeah, I don't mind him giving up, but it is definitely a good spot. But one thing I would keep in mind is if I saw Slappy White raise call off 22 big blinds of king queen offsuit and stack some guy's ace queen, I might be thinking, look, this guy might not hero fold, so maybe I just shut it down.
That is true. I mean, that was pre-flop, obviously, so maybe that's a bit different, but very valid point. Daniel Divorce here with no fear at all, just shoving force for his entire stack, but gets it through. Can't be bothered.
Yeah, just like, let's just take it down. Play the mathematics, and a lot of these guys will play the mathematics here. Sharkbait should get a little action from the European. 5-3 suited is very playable, but then again, Sharkbait's got a pretty tight image, in my opinion, but I don't know, 3-5 suited, too good, right? It's funny because like way back when, right? When Daniel Negreanu was playing, only guy playing like 5-3, you probably wouldn't defend these big blinds, but now you just defend anything suited in the big blind, and it's the proper way to play because, well, you got the math, you got the antes in there to give you the pot odds to call, flops the pair and folds there, and Sharkbait takes it down. And I want to say if Sharkbait bet smaller, probably would have got some his opponent wouldn't have folded, but Sharkbait's got that image, right? Like if you're raising relatively tight and you can get your opponent to fold bottom pair, this is a big win for you.
I'm a little bit surprised to see European fold there, because I do think if you call with a hand like that and you make a pair, shouldn't you at least try one more street to see what happens on the turn? Or is it just that the board is too scary, you're out of position, and chips are too valuable? Like,
yeah, it's basically exactly what you just said at the end. And look, calling the flop would not be bad, okay? It's just like sometimes you defend these spots, you're just thinking, I can't always check call every single board, and I should throw away some of the bottom ends because the chips are too valuable. And he's probably thinking, look, Sharkbait's he's been a little bit snugger, so maybe I should be able to fold this hand. And what if that's going to play to Sharkbait's advantage?
What if one of those 9s that we had on the board there, or the 10 or the 9, what if one of those cards is a spade? Do we then call at least one time?
Yes, I definitely agree. With the backdoor flush draw, I don't think European would ever fold. But without the backdoor flush draw, now you're just hoping for exactly the 3 or the 5.
Yeah. All right, that does make sense. And who are we to question the European, right? He knows what he's doing. Adrian
Exactly.
Mateus picks up the bottom end of an open-ended straight draw here. Well, Slappy White in position. He's got an ace, and he's going to fire
He's
270,000 chips
firing
into the
big
middle.
too. Yeah, this is beautiful. This is just pure nothing, but he gets his opponent to fold. See, say he bet like 20% pot, something some players would do here. The 8-7 might not fold, and he might lose that pot. But Slappy White just, to me, is a little bit unpredictable. And I think that could be to his advantage because all these guys, other guys, are very big sick crushers who
Oh.
maybe play a little bit more predictable. Queen 10 suited here. I think he's gonna. I think he should fold,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I guess he's gonna shove. It's gonna work correctly. I'm not really sure what the right answer. I mean, Matthias would know better. My first instinct was to fold, but I don't know. It's tricky, and it's a good one.
Yeah, I like it as well. I think it was a very easy choice for Matthias if Sharkbait would have just folded, right? Then it comes to you, small blind against big blind, queen 10 suited. You're the shortest stack. Then obviously you're going to go for it. But I think with the opening becomes a little more intimidating, but he still has some fold value there as well, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it's like-
I think I want to point out the last thing I want to point out is that the queen 10 suited. You think about how much those chips, if his opponent called and lost, is it important to him? And the
Yes.
fact that the answer is yes. And just Soiza just going to just shove there like ace 5 suited. He doesn't think like, oh, if I get called, I'm in great shape. He's thinking, look, if you lose 2.5 million, you're not in good shape here. So let me just put as much pressure on you. Now,
Yep.
of course, when you get called, it sucks because you just dusted off 2.5 million chips and you're crying in your bedroom. But you know, things are much different in that situation. And European,
I
did he
gotta
just fold
say,
10-9 suited? Yeah, go ahead.
I'm a little bit surprised how often at these final tables and at the highest level, we still see that limp from like small blind to big blind. Because I feel like the shove from the big blind works like a solid 98, 99% of the time. If they're just limping, they're most likely not calling you all in, unless they're indeed setting up a massive trap. But I feel like the limp small blind against big blind, it doesn't seem like the most optimal play.
Yes, I know what you're saying, where you can just shove a lot of cards in the big blind. But then again, it's I know these pros they created a limping strategy. It's very popular now, actually, to limp the small and big blind because you're getting really good pot odds, and you want to limp some strong hands like aces and kings to trap sometimes, and those chips are very valuable. And yes, it's so unlikely you pick up aces and kings to limp the small blind, but it does happen occasionally. We've seen final tables like where people limp aces on the button and things like this. So it's not out of the question. And Soiza is not going to just shove like 5-3 offsuit because if he was, especially if hole cards up, people are going to get you sooner than later. So you got to remember, hole cards are up. It's not like, oh, it's live poker where I can just pretend I have a big hand every time.
All right, we've got threes going up against 9-6 and 10 checks. Soiza in the lead so far.
Yep, so Slappy White trying to hit that set. I think this is a good spot to check for Jack 10.
Why do I feel like we're going to get a turn 3? Ooh,
close.
Slappy White's been running pretty good. Obviously playing good poker as well. I mean, maybe the king-queen thing was a little questionable, but I mean, he's been running good, playing solid, not making any big mistakes at least. He's not throwing away the chips that he got, right? I feel like he's doing a good job in maintaining them.
He is the chip leader right now, and Sharkbait is the one stabbing. Sharkbait's got a really good image, but this is a bet I would expect from not him. So it might get a lot of credibility. It does not. Can he fire one more bet? It's a tough one because the truth is the Queen of Spades improves Michael Soiza a lot. So he isn't going to bet.
Soiza going to be more than happy to win that, by the way, with the third pair, of course.
I was going to say, you build up your image so good, right? And then you have to shut down 9-6, no pair, no draw, and everyone's just like, okay, this guy's like 8 like it's just...
Well, big pot for Soiza, of course. Over 1 million chips heading his way. He's back to 3.5 million now. As we have European opening up with Queen 10. I gotta say, European is playing like a rather quiet game. Obviously, very solid and displayed a couple of great plays already.
Hmm.
But it's not like he's playing it like when Michael Adamo won the tournament and just
Correct.
pushing everybody around and he's running over the table. It's like, no, European is just kind of in his corner doing his thing and playing great poker.
European, his style is very solid. He's a very situational player. Now, if European had the chip lead, he'd be putting extreme pressure here. The fact that he's opening an ace eight here actually defines how he thinks his opponents are playing. He thinks that Slappy White is not the type of player to 3-bet bluff him and things like this, so he can get away with opening ace eight. If it was Michael Adamo or any Divorce or those other guys that was in Slappy White's position, I'm almost certain he wouldn't open the ace eight because he knows that it will put pressure on him. But so he's very good at situations and understanding when to make plays and what he can get away with. So that's his biggest strength, and he's a very solid player. I think if you wanted to role model one player to pick, I would role model after him because how solid of a player he is. And of course, Michael Adamo's style is very good, but it's if you're a beginner and you play like Michael Adamo, you're probably going to dust off all your chips too often. So you want to learn from the solid player first and then kind of pick up some tricks from some of the other guys.
This is interesting as well. One of our shortest stacks, or the shortest stack on the table, actually just calling with ace jack suited. Does flop a flushed one, of course, still has the over as well, but I'm a bit surprised to not just see him shove it there.
Definitely shoving would have been a very good play, open jamming. And, you were saying how, like, oh, when they limp, they usually are very weak. I don't think he would ever fold to a shove there. I think he was actually trying to induce some action from the other two players. And it gets a little tricky when people are now limping strong hands like ace jack suited in spots where you expect them to shove.
Yeah, but that was different, of course, right? This is the smallest stack at the table as well, and of course, limping from the button. I think that's very different than when it's small blind against big blind and two biggest stacks going up against each other.
Yeah, so Soys are just gonna jam here, prevent Adamo from just winning this pot somehow. There we go. So very different style, right? Like, because you might have seen some people limp the ace queen there, but Soys are just thinking, look, I'm just gonna pick up the raw equity. I'm not gonna let you guys do anything to take this pot away from me.
No, but it's also always a nice move because when your opponent is like, he's shoving on me again, they're not putting you on ace queen when you're shoving from the small blind. But this is one of these little things that does tilt people as well. It's like, well, can't call. There is just not many hands you can really call a shove with there. Ace king is going to shove here over the top, and Daniel Devoris will probably get out of the way. He's gonna pretend like he's got a big decision, but he doesn't.
No, you can't pretend. You got the shot clock, right?
Yeah, a couple seconds, at least make it seem.
So Daniel Devoris gonna maybe lose 1.5 million chips here.
Yeah, shark bait waking up with queens. Oh, just opening up here, shortest stack of the table. I do always think that this is already strong. Like, cause if he has a mediocre hand, he's probably shoving it. I always feel like when the short stack at the final table.
Look, Sharkbait lost all his image when he showed down the 9-6 suited earlier in that post flop pot. So he's getting action, and he's gonna get the action.
Well, there are no guarantees in poker, but obviously this is pretty good for Sharkbait. Just needs to avoid the jacks for now. Space he's got covered. So that's could be a chop. 4 or 9. 4 or 9 for the chop? No. That's always so brutal as well, right? When you've got two pairs going up against each other and then the board turns straight. You're like, no. Are you kidding me?
So the thing Daniel Divorce did wrong there is he didn't do the just one time, please.
Yeah.
The emote.
Or just send out a ship it, even when you're way behind. It's confidence then. I was like, you've got an overpair, ship it. All right, well, great news for Sharkbait. He now doubles up, and he's suddenly like one of the top 4 stacks at the final table.
The two guys who we don't know their real names are been hanging in there and cruising. So, Adamo here, ace queen suited, going to raise or ship it. He's going to raise.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a great image. Yeah, but he's got a great image to raise. And look at that as well. European immediately getting out of the way with ace-5. Slappy White getting away with his ace as well from the button. Obviously, all great decisions. But yeah, I mean, Michael Adamo obviously raises a lot here. So then I think it'd be a shame to just shove your ace queen suited. It's a bit too strong for that, right? Then you may as well just hope that somebody three bets you because they don't believe you.
Yeah, it's a very different style because I know there's a lot of other players out there who just open ship that hand. And, we saw Matthias, which you expect him to open ship the ace jack suited earlier, but he
Yeah.
just limped. So you got to play your overall game. And three bet from ace-6 offsuit, Daniel Dvorak only got 20 big blinds. European doesn't have much. King 8 suited. He hasn't folded yet. So maybe he's thinking, man, do you really have the nuts here? Wow, if European can shove this one, this would be
insane.
The dream. The greatest play.
Might just think that Daniel Dvorak is a little tilted as well, right? Just ran jacks into queens, never a pleasant feeling. Then suddenly starts three betting big on the big blind. Nah, he does.
He folded. Yeah, whoa, he really thought about that. It was just like, why didn't you just shove on me? Why did you three bet me? Like, not. He had good intuition, but sometimes it's hard to pull the trigger. And
yeah,
Daniel Dvorak is probably like, oh God, I got away with that one, didn't I?
I mean, there's such a big chance that your king 8 is in a horrible shape if you get snap called there, right? Ace king. It's just like, well, gonna need a little miracle here. Gotta say, we're getting some proper poker tonight, Nano. It's not the shove festival we've seen before. I feel like a lot of mind games, chips flying around as well, right? It's not a foregone conclusion that X, Y, and Z are going to be the top three, and then we'll duke it out. It's like, no, I still feel like this is anybody's game at this point.
Definitely agree for anybody's game. Matthias going to limp the 9-8 suited. Okay, well, he's limped ace-jack suited. Probably everyone knows now because, of the delay. We're going to see. Wait, but Michael Adamo? I was going to say, we're probably going to see a flop, but there's a chance he shoves, and he does shove. This is nice. Denies opponent equity. And Adamo just reads situations really good.
Yeah,
that is not a standard play, I'll tell you that.
Well, three big blinds are more than welcome for Adamo at this point. Ooh, we got some small blind against big blind action here with Michael Adamo having 10-9. European with the A3 offsuit in the big blind.
Adamo is going to steal with the 10-9 against the big stack. He's relentless.
European will fold. Well done by Michael Adamo. Yeah, he's a fun poker player to watch. No, I'll definitely.
He needs to make every final table, right? It just makes our stream so much more enjoyable. Of course, not to take away from anyone else, but it's just fun to watch him play. What a guy.
Adrian with 13 big blinds, shortest stack at the table at this point, is going to open up the 9-10 suited. We'll probably get a call here, of course, by Slappy White. Or from Slappy White, rather, with ace-5 suited. He's probably like, why am I playing all these spots with the guy with 12 big blinds? What is happening?
Yeah, it's just like a little bit too good of a hand. Matthias flops marginal, but with the 10-9 suited, it's just like he's going to go for the small bet, but it sucks no matter what if you get action resistance. Of course, your best case scenario of 10-9 suited is they just fold the flop. But it sucks sometimes you bet the flop, your opponent has queen jack and they shove on you, then you fold the best hand. It's just really marginal there. Deuces, is it going to open or is it going to fold?
Open. Michael Adamo
I want to say
fold.
The standard is to fold, but
220.
Adamo is a razor.
Yeah, the standard is a fold here for deuces?
I would say so, given the final table. It wouldn't be if you weren't at the final table. So, yeah. But look, here's the standard. If it's a little bit more aggressive, if it's Adamo, you just, anything above that where it's not usually a fold is definitely a raise.
Well, we're going to see Adamo open up again with King Jack offsuit, and we'll most likely get it through here. Definitely picking up quite a few pots. Has not been fortunate in the big flips tonight, but has definitely been grinding his way to the top over and over again. This could get interesting with Shark Bait finding King Queen on the button. The shortest stack with Queen 10. We've seen a Queen 10 shove before, and then Daniel Dvorak has pocket nines as well.
Can't fold this. Makes the call. We got a coin flip. Can the King Queen from Shark Bait get the king? He does.
Second king as well. A 9 and a 9 only is what is going to save. No, that's not going to be enough. So well done by Sharkbait there. That is very, very unfortunate again for Daniel DeVoris. First jacks into queens and now actually eliminated by the nines, losing against the king queen. Great performance by him though. Walks away with, was it 92,406?
70,
No,
72K.
72,000. Yep.
But you know what I gotta say, Roddy? DeVoris is a good play, but he made one huge mistake. Do you know what that mistake is? I don't know if you remember. Do you remember, Roddy? You don't, do you?
Tell me.
He did not switch seats at the final table. He was the chip leader, just like Connor Beresford before, who went out in like 5th, 6th, or 7th. The same thing happened. He didn't switch seats. He just timed out, forgot to switch seats, went to go get coffee, and got brutally punished.
I don't know if he went to get coffee. I mean, I still don't think that his spot wasn't that bad though, where he was, because there was a very small difference between the guy that was second and third in chips. It was 100,000 chips difference. So I don't know if that really would have made all the difference, but you're right.
It would have made a difference. I'm a superstitious player, man. You got to switch seats if you're the chip lead. If you don't switch seats, you might as well just fold just try to ladder up because you're not going to ship the tournament. DeVoris out in 7th place. Oh my God. You got to switch seats. It always happens now. It always happens.
Just a brutal way to end it, right? You run jacks into queens and then you lose nines against king, queen, kings on the flop, or at least one king, second king on the turn. That is going to be it. Now, this hand could get a little feisty here, as the demo has obviously top pair and a couple of backdoors. Slappy white mid pair, but it has an overcard as well.
Yep, so it should be a check call from Slappy white. And the turn picks up some straight draws for both players.
Yep, gut shot for Slappy white. The demo is now open-ended. A queen on the river. Wouldn't that be an action card, Nana?
It would definitely put a little bit of action in there. Adamo trying to think, okay, I like to see Adamo bet again, but I think checking is good too. Can really go either way.
No, you gotta bet. You gotta bet.
I do like betting better. Yeah, he's just trying to think. He doesn't think there's enough. Too many queen 10s, king 10s, ace 10s, you know, those kind of hands. And then you pretty much auto check the river usually unimproved. Slappy white can't really fold this, in my opinion, to Adamo because Adamo has too many worse hands like ace queen, king queen, 2 diamonds, even 9x, and he gets there on their river card.
All right, I'll take it back. He shouldn't have bet. No, I mean, I still like the bet there because if you can induce a fold, I mean, there is 900,000 chips in the middle. That's massive. That's like 33% of his chip stack at that point. Oh, what an absolutely brutal river card for Michael Adamo. Let's see if he can find the check here at least, because Slappy white, tricky, checked it to him.
Adamo should be checking here. I'm not sure what worse hand he can get to call unless he's turning his hand into a bluff. I'd be very shocked if he continues betting. It just seems like a mistake.
He does love betting. So. He does love betting.
I would love. It doesn't really make sense to bet. What are you hoping to call? Unless you're trying to move him off the same type of hand, but doesn't make any sense. But when you're a bluffer, you always find ways to try to get value and correctly checks. I mean, so it's 2 guys with no names to attach that holds over 10 million chips combined. Sharkbait and Slappy white. They're destroying the pros right now. Like, you just don't mess with their king queens. Just don't mess with them.
So it turns out if you want to win the high roller super millions over at GG Poker, move to Canada, make a random account, and then make this your first tournament ever. And then
play king queen.
Yeah, and never fold king queen indeed.
Yeah.
All right, Slappy white with pocket threes. I mean, he's got so many chips at this point. He can almost just call these kind of things. The only thing is though that Sharkbait now also has a monstrous amount of chips, right? So it kind of like becomes a bit tricky.
I like the fold. It's just you're not getting a good price because Matheus is so short. Matheus getting a lot of marginal hands and flopping a lot of marginal situations. Probably going to throw a very small bet out there given the way he's been playing. We saw him do that with the 10-9 suited, which was marginal. Just hope for some folds, and there we go, 25%. quick call from the ace-4. Just got the backdoor club draw.
Shark Bait is gonna fire the river. If the river is some random card, if this goes check check, and I think the river is like a random 7 or a deuce or anything. Okay, it's not check check. Well done by Matthias. I honestly feel like he's playing very well too. He doesn't get much to work with, but he's definitely making the best of what he's getting.
Yeah, he somehow wins the pots. Shark Bait. Okay, I was gonna say, don't throw another curveball at me. So Matthias, yeah, he's been getting the crappy end of the hands, but been playing them really well.
This could be nice. If Shark Bait wants to get weird, Matthias will most likely raise this. The question is how much? 285?
Or ship it? No, he's going to put 3 big blinds.
Okay,
Yeah, pretty good.
360. All right, of course, next play that gets eliminated gets $92,000. After that, we're moving into 6 digits. Nano, we're finally getting some proper poker action here. These guys are just throwing chips around. And yeah, we are far from done. We still got 6 players left in the tournament. Is there anything you would like to add before we go to a quick break as well?
No. Switch seats.
Switch seats. All right. Nano wants people to switch seats and fold king queen. We hope that you guys are enjoying it. Once again, of course, the World Series of Poker Online is now happening over at GG Poker. So if you are interested and you don't have an account yet, there's no better time to make one than right now. There's still sign-up code as well, of course, GGTV. You can always use that. Should always be available. And on top of that, there is an insane amount of satellites and qualifiers running at this point to qualify for some of those prestigious WCS or WSOP. There we go. It's been a long night, guys. WSOP events, and perhaps you'll win a bracelet too. 6 players are left. We've got 3 Canadians, a Malaysian, a Finnish dude, and somebody from the UK. We're going to find out who will walk away with the first place of $534,000 later tonight. For now, we're going to head over to a very quick break, and then we'll be back, guys, in 4 minutes to continue the coverage. Alrighty, guys, welcome back to the coverage of this final table of the High Roller Super Millions. We still have 6 runners. Nano is back as well. Players are ready to continue. I got myself an energy drink, man. I have the feeling we're gonna be here for a while, Nano.
Yeah, every time you say that though, like we get to the heads up, they're super deep, and then they just lose it all in one hand. Yeah, it's very possible.
Well,
Back
I'm
to
not
the
predicting
action.
our heads up to last very long, because that I'm with you. But
Yeah.
these guys, I feel like, nobody's acting too crazy. Obviously, Adamo has been very aggressive, but he's getting shorter right now. So I feel like we're going to be here for a while. And I'm loving it. I feel like we're watching some really high level poker, of course.
Yeah, high level poker indeed. We got a limp pot. Soiza open ended. I'd like to see Soiza put in some chips on the flop.
Yeah, very hard for Matthias to continue with the stack size that he currently is working with. 2.3 million. Don't really want to be bleeding out too many chips. Good job there by Soiza. Don't forget, he came in as the chip leader to our final 16 and definitely had a tough time early on, but he's crawling his way back to the top and is now 3rd in chips, so not all that bad.
I don't know if anything's going to stop Slappy White and Shark Bait, these two unknown names.
I still believe in European. I mean, gotta stick with the pick, right? And so
You
far,
gotta
my
stick
picks
with the
didn't
pick.
really-
Come on, Adamo. You got the Jack 3 offsuit. Make some magic happen.
Yeah, he's getting really short now. Basically 11 big blinds at this point. So I think we're into shoving territory for Adamo. Uh-oh, this would be the wrong one. If this, no, this shouldn't go fold because Matthias picks up ace-9 offsuit. And I have the feeling that he's probably going to open this up. Then I really wonder what Adamo is going to do.
Adamo probably will fold if Matthias opens. If Adrian folds here, well, that's obviously bad news for the blind versus blind situation. And
Yep.
the tank is okay, saved by the min raise. Adamo should be folding and should be shoving. So this hand could have played very differently. You put the ace-9 offsuit in the hands of a very tight player. Well, GG Adamo, right? But now it's going to be a shove and a fold.
European finally picks up some chips again. Obviously, just picking up a couple blinds here is such a big deal because this almost brings him back to 3 million. Adamo now has a much more shovable hand. Picks up aces on the button. I mean, he's got so few chips that I feel like he can't really do much else, but we'll
He's
see.
thinking, can I limp? Can I min raise? And he thinks he can get some action from the Slappy White. And the truth is, he probably can get some action from Slappy White usually, because Slappy White defended ace-5 suited against Matthias, who's had like 12 or 13 big blinds. So I think the min raise is the right play, especially from someone from Adamo who, if you're the guy where you only shove or fold with 10 big blinds, then you need to be shoving. But clearly,
that's an unfortunate moment, though.
Yeah, you're just like, oh, come on.
Yeah, I know. Like Adamo is like, come on. Like I played the most amount of hands of anyone here. Even though his VPIP is a little bit lower than Sharkbait, but throughout the 2 hours that we've been watching this final table, or almost over 2 hours at this point, definitely he's been the most active player. And then you do finally get aces, and you get no action. It's like, come on. Yeah, it's all part of the game. Soiza picks up ace king Sharkbait in the small blind with ace queen suited. No, this could be fireworks.
Yeah. Is Sharkbait? He might just shove. Who knows? It's possible. We've seen him. He's going to go for the 3-bet, and Soiza should be just jamming it in. Jam and cram. But the truth is, the big stacks, you want to jam into the chip leaders because they're the ones that can 3-bet bluff you. Ace king is just too strong.
What do you think Sharkbait is going to do? I have the feeling he might call.
See, it's about 30 big blinds.
Yeah, it's massive. It's a massive call, but
I don't think he should, but you never know.
I'm with you. I mean, it is like, obviously, if it's one of the smallest stacks, like if it's Matthias or Adamo, then I think it's an easy call. Soiza does have a lot, 3.6 million. Would Soiza really do this with anything worse than ace queen? That's what you got to ask yourself here, right? Wow,
no.
good fold.
Yeah,
Excellent fold.
That's the tricky part about Ace Queen too. Is like it's such a good hand. It feels so bad to 3-bet fold this hand. So some people might just call there, but of course, usually his opponent will fold pre-flop. That's the truth. So got away correctly, but you lose 900,000 chips.
Very well done, though. Honestly, I mean, yeah, losing 900K sucks, but losing 3.4 or 3.6 million would have been a whole lot worse. Obviously, well done by Souza.
I think the King Jack is gonna come along.
Yep.
Yeah, it's 13 big blinds, but Adamo strikes me as the guy who doesn't fold these hands. But I'm curious to what he thinks. He's just trying to analyze the situation. The thing is, he's the shortest stack, makes the correct call.
King Jack a little too strong. A king and a jack on the flop as well. So we need some runaround action. A 10 is an out at this point for Souza. Uh-oh, Adamo, you don't deserve it, and he doesn't get it. So that's good news. Michael Adamo, one of our previous champs of the High Roller Super Million, doubles up. He's totally back in action now with 3.2 million. And look at these stack sizes, Nano. Like, these guys, they refuse to bust.
Yeah, they refuse to bust and making good call downs, you know. Some players, look, if you're like a newbie at this final table and you might fold King Jack thinking, look, my opponent's shoving ace and I'm beat, right? But no, you got to be making the Nash calls there of the King Jack. So very, very well done. Like you said, everyone's got kind of like not short, so a lot of playability. Souza is going to try to win some chippies back.
Maybe a little afraid of what just happened. He's going to check. European has absolutely nothing. I mean, there was a backdoor club draw, but that one obviously busted now as well. The European doesn't really have the chip stacks to get too crazy either. With 2.5 million, you really got to cherish those chips. Souza will take it down with a nice bet here on the turn. I'm honestly very impressed by the way that all of them have played at this point. Like even Matthias, I feel like he's been short forever, but it just keeps hanging in there as well. And he's not even in like real trouble yet. And obviously, when I say that, he does wake up with pocket threes.
He's thinking about whether he can get away with opening this one. I think folding is just fine too. It's going to limp. He's the only guy that's kind of creating this limping strategy, not small blind versus big blind. And it's quite tricky to play against.
Yeah, this is like the 5th or 6th time, I think, so far that he's been limping at this final table. So really interesting. Adamo is trying to figure out, like, what do I do with ace 8 here? Like,
yeah, I mean, you can see he's using a lot of time bank here. He's thinking, is he going to limp jam on me? He thinks not often enough. So Adrian Mateos here.
That's a sick play, though, with ace 8, right? Because if you do get jammed on, you know you're in trouble immediately. And you'll pretty much always fold. So very well done. Let's see what Matthias decides to do here in the end. Yeah, obviously, Adamo has been crazy.
I would like. This is tricky. So he does limp call. Trying to keep the variance down. I mean, I guess when you limp, you're trying to keep it down. So it's just tricky. It's out of position. Adamo here. Trying to figure out what range his opponent has. Does put a small bet out there. The threes, you really can't fold, right? Like, you limp call this with shallow stacks. It's a small bet. It's a king high board. Against Adamo.
I mean, the king is a scary card. And if you were beat before, you're still going to be beat. But he makes the call, Matthias. But now the 8 on the turn. Oh. Mate, this hand is so deep. Like, I'm getting uncomfortable just following the action of this hand.
Michael's trying to think, should I bet? Because there is a lot of tricky rivers. Is this going to go check? They're both hoping for check now. And I just don't see how Adamo's going to lose this pot. Because the threes has enough showdown value.
If the threes shove here, then he will lose it. I don't believe he will call there, but that is not going to happen. So it will go check on the river. And Adamo picks up another big pot here. 1.4 million chips heading his way. Matthias played it great. Just unfortunate turn card there for him. And look at this. 2 of our big stacks. Waking up with some real hands here. Ace queen on the small blind, pocket 8s on the big blind.
Yeah, it should be just a call from Shark Bait. It's a little bit too much of a risk to just jam it, in my opinion. It's like so many big blinds. It would be a plus EV shove. It's going to three bet
Ooh.
it, and now Slappy White. Well, you gotta be thinking this, right? Shark Bait earlier just three bet folded, right? So you're Slappy White's thinking, man, this guy's got some bluffs for sure. He's got some bluffs. This is a
This is
very
where the rest of the
unpredictable hand.
and the rest of the table is going full Godzilla on us right now. It's like, let them fight, you know? It's like
Let there be one remaining unknown name player, and it's a shove from the ace queen. Wow, this is a great read by the ace queen. Obviously very risky because they're playing for so many chips. There's a 10 big blind guy coming up, and the eights now feels sick about three betting this hand. Now it has to decide, am I flipping here? Folds is the best hand, well, the slight best hand.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Slappy White with an insane play there. Takes it down pre-flop. Now it's 6.1 million. That's the highest amount of chips we've seen anybody hold in this tournament up to this point.
Yeah, I don't really like the way Shark Bait played that hand. I think he should have just called because you don't want to three bet fold a hand as good as eights in position and with the shallow stack out there. But Slappy White, the guy with no cash, is chip leading six. He's really bossing. He really bossed Shark Bait in that play, like really good, because ace queen is not. It's not an easy shove there because, of course, Shark Bait could wake up a big hand, but Shark Bait should have remembered that earlier he re-raised and folded, and everyone saw that with big stack situations. So that might make Slappy White incentivized to kind of play back at him a bit more.
This could get interesting as well. Slappy White, a chip leader, opening up with King Jack. Soiza waking up with Queen Jack suited. Picks up all the back doors, Nano, but that's about it.
Yeah, not too much. Slappy White playing very good for the newcomer. Played one tournament on GG Poker, chip leading against these crushers. Is he going to bet? Is he going to check? The way he's been playing, it's been betting, and he is going to fire a small bet into Queen Jack of clubs. Might be like, you know what? Maybe I turned something. It's a small bet. A lot of good backdoor possibility. Just out of position. And it's a check raise from Queen Jack of clubs. And, you know, that's why you bet small there. It's just sometimes you can get your opponent to make some check raise bluffs on you, and his opponent does call. And Soiza now picks up a royal flush draw. He can hit the ace of clubs. He can hit the nine of clubs. Yeah, don't worry. Roddy will be back soon. But look, Soiza is going to go for another bet, about half the pot. Slappy White, still top pair, jack kicker. A very good bet from Soiza because Slappy White could have a lot of hands that can fold to turn, like pocket nines, pocket jacks, something like that. See if Slappy White can continue. Is going to make the call, and Michael Soiza rivers the straight. Whew. Flush does get there, but I think Soiza should be going for value. It does seem like Slappy White could have a hand that could pay off, like Ace King is a very prime example here. Is going to jam, and Slappy White just really doesn't have a good hand to call with. It's very hard for his opponent to be bluffing, to check raise his flop, bet the turn. Usually puts him on the flush draw, and the flush gets there, the straight gets there. Yes, he's got the king of diamonds blocker to the nut flush, but he just really have to think that Soiza is making a big move on him. And I don't really see how he can make this call. Slappy White is going to tank, though. It's tricky when you got the good blockers that catches bluffs. And you back, Roddy?
I'm back, mate. Blue screen of death. Can you believe that?
So he's a check raise the flop, bet the turn, got there on the river, went for the value shove. Slappy White did get unlucky on that one to Soiza, and it's the other guys picking up the chips from the two unknowns right now, and he's gonna open up the sevens.
All right, well, we are back. Sorry, mate, about that. Gaming
Sorry
computers.
To the Twitch chat, they missed you. It's all good. You were frozen. I was like, okay.
Yeah, no, I was frozen as well. I was like, oh, is this my internet acting up? Nope. And then suddenly my entire computer just, well, went blue screen and it stayed at 0% as well. That's never a good sign. But hopefully, this is the only time. I got to say, I had a day the other day where I had like 3 of these in a row. So I really hope that doesn't happen again. But all right. At least I didn't miss anybody busting. And I hope that this will be the only time. I apologize for that, guys. But
No good. That's all
let's get it
good.
done.
You actually didn't miss anything. You just missed the hand. Just took a long time that last one, so it's all good. And Slappy White opens the next hand with sevens, calls a 3-bet because he just lost some chips. Adamo 3-betting the king queen, gets the queen. Gonna go for some value.
Slappy White with his sevens here. That's going to be tough to find a call here. Soisa does have. Wow, Soisa won a lot in that last hand.
Yeah, he went for the check raise, got called on a big bet on the turn, and tried to get value in the river, but he took him from Slappy White. Slappy White and Shark Bait each had 5 million chips. They just keep losing chips. Slappy White thinking about continuing against this very small bet. Does
Wow,
make
and
the
he does.
call. This is disaster
Oh.
for them.
Yep, big mistake giving Michael Adamo more ammunition than he really needs, right? To be the poker player that he wants to be. Oh. That's a wrong read by Slappy White.
I'm going to try to keep the pot a little bit smaller. It's a little bit tricky turn card because he's not really sure where he's at. Slappy White, 2 sevens, just like, please have ace king, please have ace king, please have ace king.
Yeah. I mean, if he does have ace king, we're going crazy over here. We're like, what a call! That's sick. Oh, the 5 of spades is a very tricky card as well. If Adamo bets here, there's a chance the Slappy White calls one more time. Obviously, it depends a lot on sizing, I guess.
Yeah, I think Adamo right now is trying to think, okay, how often am I ahead? And I think the only hand Michael Adamo loses to is ace queen. So he probably can safely value bet this one on the river card. And again, ace queen might even just bet the turn. So he probably doesn't have to worry about the ace queen that much. And here is the half pot value bet, trying to get those crying calls.
I think Slappy White is going to find a fold here. Like, that's just a little too much. Like, if you're wrong here, you're left with 1.7 million, which, yeah, I mean, that's a long ways off the over 6 million that he was before.
Yeah, Slappy White's just thinking, man, I'm just crashing down. Is going to make the right fold, but he's lost half his stack in 2 hands in a row.
Yep. At least good that he maintained his composure there and didn't lose it all, but not
chip
where you want to
leader.
be, right? Yeah. Oh, wow.
New
Oh,
chip leader.
he's
Michael
back. Wow.
Adamo chip leader. This is the one you don't want to be a chip leader. Auto raise. There's no chance he's not raising the 10-7 of clubs.
And that is insane. He's
jam.
actually just going to shove it.
That is a
Slappy
huge
White.
shove. That's
Yeah,
Slappy White sitting on almost 30 big blinds, right?
a little less, but 25-ish. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, just shoves it in. Does that mean he's going to shove the sixes too, right? I mean, I'll tell you what Michael Adamo's thinking, though. He's thinking, look, from an ICM point of view, you guys are going to fold almost every single hand. He's just going to shove. He's going to deny the king jack a chance to see in the flop. He's just going to keep shoving. The reason is Matheus has 10 big blinds, and everyone, if they know how to play tournament poker, will fold every single hand that isn't a premium. Yeah. Because they're supposed to. And the ace jack is shipping
3 in a row.
This is the Michael Adamo show.
Can we get 3 in a row? No, this is just going to
race.
be a race. Yeah. I mean, that's still good enough. The tables have turned. Wow. He was at like 11 or 12 big blinds less than 20 minutes ago. And our previous champ, don't forget that, guys, already won it once. Has now the chance to potentially become our first 2-time High Roller Super Millions champ. And that'd be hella impressive, considering the fact that he was down to 11 bigs.
Yeah, it'll be very impressive. Matheus here, King Jack suited. Should he shove his 9 big blinds? Against the guy who's running ice cold, I would shove, right? Like this guy.
He's an ice cube for a reason, right?
But
King Jack, if you're this short, yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense to shove here. Slappy White may have to call here, though. It's 700k more against the shortest stack at the table. You don't want to give him those chips. He does make the correct call. Slappy White is ahead. Let's see if Matheus can get lucky. So far, he's not getting lucky. King or a jack on the river, Nano? This is where you use your one-time emoji.
No,
Nope, it's a heart. Yeah. Well, that means that we will finally go down to 5 players. Matthias fought for everything he was worth tonight, I think. Played, in my opinion, really good poker. Just couldn't really make much more of it than this, but really like the way he played. Would love to see him make another final table. But we're down to 5.
We're down to 5. Just needs to work on his emoji game a little bit, right? There's little tricks you got to do at these final tables.
Where was the one time?
Yeah, where was the one time? So 5 players remaining. We got Michael Soiza, Michael Adamo, the European, Samuel Vuzden, Slappy White, and Sharkbait. So a nice mix of players.
This hand could get interesting. There is a 9 of hearts. And European will tag along, but is still pretty far behind. And it's going to need some serious help on the river. A heart and a heart only, pretty much.
Sharkbait is probably thinking, I probably should bet, right? Because when someone check calls the flop, they often have a single heart, and I don't want to let those hands come along. And he is going to correctly bet, get his opponent to fold. That's a nice pickup.
Very well done. I mean, goes back to 3.3 million. European now, the short stack for the first time at this final table. Gotta say, didn't get much though, right? To be fair,
he's not out yet. He's still got 15 big blinds. He has something to work with.
But yeah, he'll be more than fine. But
he's playing his spots very well. I would say he's very aware of how tournament final tables should be played. Clearly gets to him a lot, but he has a very different approach to some of these other guys. And back to this hand, Soiza, he's actually a very tricky player because he checks back air and he checks back good hands and flush draws and top pairs. He's kind of one of those guys where you never know where he's at. Now it's picked up a lot on the turn.
I'd love to see a heart on the river because I have the feeling that Slappy White could get very adventurous then as well because he does have the ace of hearts. So you could always pretend. But Soiza obviously is never going to fold the king high flush here.
Makes the call of the bottom pair. And okay.
I had a feeling he wanted to turn his hand into a bluff if it was possible, but it's not going to be possible. Soiza is going to be very pleased with that river. Makes 2 pair at this point.
I see an overbet coming or pot size bet, in my opinion. Yeah. Just, you played your hand tricky. Doesn't look like the 9 should improve you that often because you would probably bet expected to bet queen 10 on the flop. So you can kind of make it look like a bluff a lot, and it is a slight overbet from Michael Soiza.
That's a sick bet. Well, yeah, does make a lot of sense. Slappy White has no choice here other than to fold, which he will. I'm actually getting a little worried. I was still feeling good about my pick, but European is really not getting much. He's getting no playable hands. And he is just, you said 15 bigs. It's less than that at this point, right? 13, 14? Yeah.
Still got a chance, but, Soiza, he started the day as the chip leader with 16 left. He's now in second place. He's been playing very solid. It's his first time playing the 10K Super Millions as a final table. He just knows how to ship tournaments, doing very well. And it's going to battle a little bit with Slappy White, but Slappy White will be likely betting. I haven't really seen him play tricky. He's more of a better, and it will work.
Yeah, I think
he checked. He checked. Okay. He's tricky. He's learning from Soiza. Look at a little tricky.
Well, turns his hand into a flush here. Soiza does have the 9 of clubs. Hopefully he doesn't get too crazy with that. He's going to bet big. Soiza folds immediately. Wants nothing to do with this hand. He's like, nope, that's not my board. We're not going to get anywhere. Man, I'm starting to get sad. Queen 4 offsuit. What is this? Our man European needs to start getting some cards over here, Nano.
You gotta wait for the 10 big blinds and the small blind jams into you, and you wake up with like an ace X and then double up the king jacks. That's what the trend has been.
If you're ever going to get a walk, if you're European, this is the moment. But he's probably not going to get it.
He's not going to get a walk. The question is, he's going to get jammed on, or is he going to get limped on? I don't know.
I think it's frozen. Am I still here?
You're a little frozen, I think. you're a little frozen, but I'll just continue here. Adamo in the small blind trying to think if he could jam on the European or should he just limp? Should he raise? Is going to go for the small raise. So European in the big blind, Jack 6. Getting a good price, but a very garbage hand. Trying to think, can he take it down? But nope. So Adamo is going to pick up that little chip piece. We will get Roddy back soon. Just, we got him frozen in the perfect picture moment. Like, what's going on here? That's all good. You still got me, guys, in the chat. All right, so 7-3 suited, going to open it up. And this is what you want to do when you're the chip leader. Is just keep raising, pick on these middling and short stacks because they're just going to keep folding unless they wake up with a hand. And I think this 9-5 offsuit might even open it. Is going to open in the cutoff. Doesn't have anything.
I'm back again, Randy. Now
You're back
Zoom.
again. It's all good. It's all good. But Michael Adamo just been raising the 9-5 offsuit in the cutoff, raising the 7-deuce suited, and he's just raising the Jack 8 suited. Now he's raised the last 3 hands, but Soiza will give a little action, but flush draw for Michael here.
Can't believe it. First I have a blue screen, then it's so funny because I saw Shark bait with the King 5, and I was like, why is he taking so long? Is he really going to open up King 5 here? And then suddenly I realized everything is frozen other than my own little camera, and I'm like, what the hell is happening? And I was like, Nano, can you hear me? Hello? And you're like, all right. I guess Nano can't hear me anymore.
I would never ignore you. I would never ignore you. But yeah, back to the action. We got 5 people left. Soiza check calls a flop with ace high. Adamo, it's a bad card for the turn, so he is going to check because I think if it wasn't a 10, like pairing like that, he probably would have considered betting again. But now Soiza's got to be like, oh, thank God you checked the turn.
I mean, with ace high here, you got to be feeling pretty good.
Yeah, I think Soiza's thinking, should I block bet? And he is going to do a minimum block bet. Maybe get called by a king high. But also prevents your opponent from putting out some 1 million chip bet to try to put you in a tough spot. Yeah. Good job.
Well, yeah. Michael Adamo will find the fold there. Soiza does. I almost retake the chip lead. Still down a couple 100,000.
I don't know about the European. He's got 9 big blinds, ace 7 suited.
And Adamo has ace king suited on the big blind. That's an easy call. It's your pick against my pick. We're going to need a lot of hearts or a 7. And there is a 7 on the flop. Oh, king or a 10? A king or a 10 is good enough at this point. It is going to be a deuce, and that means the European will double up here. And you're right. Michael Adamo truly cannot win a flop today. Or a flip, rather. Sorry.
He's a not all-in player. Pre-flop all-in is not his thing. Did get it in very good, but he's still got a lot of chips and still in it. And it's got ace 7.
Big moment for the rest of the table as well, of course, because if European does bust there is a $20,000 money jump that is not happening now. So
Adamo, is he going to 3-bet this hand? I remember last final table, he lost a big pot and then he was just still relentless, and he's doing the same thing. Man, this guy just doesn't give up against the chip leader. Just lost a bunch of chips. A lot of guys just say, you know what, I'm going to calm down a little bit. Not Adamo.
1 speed, 1 gear go. I do have the feeling, though, that if he opens here, that European might get a little feisty. I mean, look at the V. Oh, he leaves him with no choice. The queen 10 all in from the button, forcing the ace 8 to fold, forcing the jack 9, I believe it was as well, to fold. Adamo is insane. He is insane.
Let's just ship this ace 8 suited in and let's get the same hand to fold. I mean, he might just min raise, but he might jam. He's going to min raise, so he mixes it up a bit, and Slappy White might jam, might call, might fold. Not really sure what he's going to do, but I would like to see him play against a guy who's raising every single hand, and this is the right play.
An ice cube against an inferno. That probably means that if if he gets called here, that's probably going to be 3 hearts on the flop. I truly don't wish that fate upon Slappy White, though. will get the fold. So very well done there by one of our unknown Canadians in his first tournament ever over at GG Poker. Still in there, the final 5 of the High Roller Super Millions.
Yeah, Damo is going to raise again. Going to get a little action from Soiza.
King 5 suited against King 10 offsuit. Neither player really flops much. Backdoors, Nano. Backdoors.
I mean, yeah. It's scary to check call with just King High against Michael, who fires the turn more often than most players. So he's going to fold there. I mean, Michael Soiza is out of position against Michael Adamo with these big stacks, so he should be playing a bit cautiously, and I think that's the right play to do.
7 deuce suited.
It's coming long for at least a flop. There's at least a flop coming. You know this guy. He's not folding 5-3 offsuit, so why is he not playing this hand?
Sharkbait will pair his ace on the flop, though. So obviously a very sweet spot for him to be in. Fires a half-sized pot bet. Here on the flop, we'll take it down immediately. And is back to almost 3 million chips. So we've got 2 chip leaders. And then we have 3 guys around the 3 million mark. 2 a little bit below. Slappy White a bit above. But this is one hell of a battle so far tonight. I'm honestly really enjoying the action.
Look at this. Just jam 10-9 offsuit.
The European obviously is picking up on what is happening.
He is picking up, but the thing is, even if you call, like, say, like, he's going to be up against Ace X a lot. King 9 here. Oh, you got a lot of big blinds to play with too, right? You still got like 18 big blinds. This would be an insane call. It would be the correct call, but I don't think you can do it, and he is going to fold.
Michael Adamo will pick up another pot. Would have been an amazing spot as well because you have the 9 covered, right? Well, I think if it goes fold, fold, shove now, then European ain't folding, that's for sure. But I have the feeling that Adamo is going to open up here.
Yeah.
Probably a min raise.
I want to say he probably is, but he is going to jam.
Call. European is going to call. There is no way. Obviously doesn't want to snap call because there is still Slappy White behind as well. There's no way he folds ace jack here. There is the call. So one more time. Adamo this time is the underdog.
Oh no,
now he gets the 4.
Needs a jack. European, can you do? You got an emoji now. Emoji.
Is it a black card? It is a black card, but that is not going to be good enough. It is the 10. GG gets called. European will finish in 5th place here at his first final table of the High Roller Super Million. Will walk away with $137,000. I mean, to be fair, he won the flip he shouldn't have won, and now he lost the one that he should have won. But I guess that's kind of a way to keep it fair, Nano.
Fair enough. That's a good way to see it. I'm happy to see him get that deep run. I know European's a very strong player, one of my favorite players to watch. So he's been playing this tournament regularly. I believe it's maybe his first or second cash. So, you know, he wanted to do better, but he played very solid, and that's the way. He chooses his spots well. Happy to see him here. But right now, it's the Michael Adamo show right now. He's getting a little bit cards going his way a little bit more, even though he's not getting in good.
I mean, now he's got a massive chip lead. We didn't see anybody with over 7 million chips yet. Now Adamo has over 8 million chips. And he could very well be on his way, Nano, to become our first 2-time High Roller Super Million champ. While we only had 6 editions. I know we're not there yet, but one hell of an achievement. Oh, my goodness. I was impressed.
What does he have? What does he have? 10-6 suited. Is there a flush draw? No. Is there anything? Nope.
Nope. He actually, I think he's got 0%.
Yeah, he's got 0%, but can Michael Soiza call here? And this is a lot of pressure because, you know, Michael Soiza's in second, makes the correct call, and that 5 is a very good card for Soiza because now he chops with so many hands. And Adamo, I think, probably would have shoved that river if it wasn't a 5, but now I don't really see how he can shove. He might still go for it, but it'll be a pretty insane shove because he'd have to think that Soiza is calling him with a king on the turn enough to fold.
Hear me out, Randy. He's representing quads with a shove. He turned this. He turned the set and rivet quads. What do you think?
No, I don't think so. He's more likely representing like a hand like ace king and ace seven, but even then it's like thin on. You can tell Michael Damo was really thinking about shoving. Now he's thinking, yeah, I really shouldn't shove, but I'm thinking about it. I'm not saying he's not going to, but again, especially he's gonna go for a small bet.
Easy call. Wow. Well done by Soiza. Well done. Didn't think about it for a second over there.
Yeah, I think Madamo was just like, please have some, 10 jack of clubs, queen jack of clubs, something like that. That just has to fold the river now. Well done. Soiza's been playing super solid, clear chip leader. Just let the guy bluff off his chips to you.
Yeah, I mean, so much for that 8 million chips that I was hyping up before that hand started. Now it's Soiza with the 8.7 million. The Jack 6 will tag along here. Michael Ademo truly defends everything, doesn't he?
Defends everything, bluffs everything. He's a scary player to have there. Did dust off a lot of chips that last hand, but he's still got a lot to work with in second place. He actually just flip-flopped, right? Soiza and Adamo's chip stacks. The other two guys, the unknowns, they're hanging in there, but they've been just doing good, right? They got 150K minimum, roughly. Doing their thing, and Adamo, ace 10 suited, might just ship it.
And he will. Shark bait with the ace 4. I mean, 17, 18 bigs at this point. You really want to call that off?
This guy is nuts, right? Like Adamo, how does he keep on just putting chips in? But like, it's too weak.
His VPIP a while ago was like 27, 28. Now it's at 56. I mean, he's been playing every hand for the last hour pretty much. Obviously, when I say that he folds, but yeah, Michael Adamo getting incredibly active here and did very well. I mean, don't forget, he was still the short stack an hour ago. Now we're down to the final 4, and he is second in chips.
Yeah, I think he's going to open up this King 5 suited, just given the way he's been playing, and Slappy White. If you're Slappy White and Shark Bait with these 20 big blinds, you just got to reshove on these 2 chip leader guys because they're just going to open a lot of trash. Don't let them make a mistake by just calling and letting them see a flop. And
I love it. I think that's an excellent shove there by Slappy White. And he takes on these pots are so big with an open there as well. This could be trouble for Shark White.
I think he's shoving. I think it's over for Shark Bait unless he gets a 5.
Yep. There we go, guys. All in ace 5 against ace jack. Shark Bait needs a lot of help. Maybe chop this. Nope, we're not going to chop it. He needs a 5 and a 5 only. And that is not going to be a GG. Shark Bait will finish in 4th place. We'll walk away with $157,000. And now that means that we're down to our final 3. Soiza came in as the chip leader with 16 players left. He's still going strong. Michael Adamo obviously going strong, playing crazy, but very entertaining poker. And then Slappy White, the man who signed up for his first tournament ever, the High Roller Super Millions, got 0 cashes on GG Poker up to this point. Here he is, top 3, guaranteed almost $200,000, and still in the running for a whole lot more.
Yeah, this is so awesome for Slappy White. It's just like he's had $10,000 to his account. It's like, I'm going to enter the Super Millions in the final table at top 3 minimum. It's just, if there was one unknown to get far, it was him because, he's got the perfect resume to get there. And we got a good final 3 here. And, Soiza and Adamo, they're very aggressive players, very action players. So it's going to be definitely exciting. I don't think this is going to be a grind. And, Slappy White's getting in there too, just jamming the King Queen suited.
I mean, over 5 million chips. Imagine if he wins the double up, then he is the dominating chip leader at that point.
Exactly.
Well, look at this. 3 playable hands in 3 ways. We've got Queen 10, we've got Ace 8 offsuit, and Ace Deuce suited for Michael Adamo.
There's the re-raise from Soiza. So really changes the way the hand plays once you see the 3-bet. Adamo's thinking, can I 4-bet? Oh, that would be so nasty. That would be such a sick read, right? And he's thinking about it. God, whenever Adamo tanks, you don't want to see him tanking because it does seem like it's coming. He's such a sick read. Wow, 4
Oh
bet.
my goodness. Well, Slappy White is going to get out of the way, and Soiza waste no time either to get out of the way. What a move.
I mean,
what a move.
Soiza's been playing pretty good, but man, Adamo is just one-upping him right now. And I like the way Soiza's playing, but Adamo's on another level right now.
Aggression pays off, right? When the blinds get this high. It's insane. Ace 8 against Queen 6. Neither player really flops anything. Let's see how this one plays out.
It's a good board continuation bet, but Soiz has been tricky. He has been checking back like misdraw, just nothing. He has been betting, so it's very, very unpredictable, and he is going to fire. But the Ace 8 should call. Oh wow, he folds. I'm surprised. I think Ace 8 is too often the best hand, but I guess he thinks that Soiza has got this kind of more balanced range that I don't know. He just fold Ace 8. I thought Ace 8 was a call. But
yeah, it's tough though, right? Because the chips are so valuable. Nana, you talk to us every week about how valuable these chips are at the final table.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a little bit interesting, but it's okay. You don't have. It was a marginal spot if you do check call. It's not like oh yeah, I just folded a pair by any means.
All right, King 3, 5-3, and Ace 8. Best hand on the big blind. And we're definitely going to see a raise here. Like, you know, I think there are very few hands that wouldn't raise here, but Ace 8 is definitely one of them, suited as well.
Let's bump it up 560,000, 640. It's close.
Damn, that's big. Michael Adamo is actually playing amazing. You know, I feel like a lot of us want to be Michael Adamo. We want to play poker like that, but then we just bust all the time.
Yeah, pretty much. But man, if you didn't know that guy before, you must gotta love the way he plays, especially from that final table he shipped a couple weeks ago.
Ace deuce against 6-4. This time Slappy White does pick up a pair on the flop.
So is he gonna bet? Is he gonna check? Doesn't connect at all. Is gonna fire. We know Slappy White's not going to fold. He's got that backdoor flush draw that you talk about.
I mean, he's got the overcard. He's got the deuce. He makes another deuce. Trip deuces on the turn. He's going to check one more time. And let's see if Soiza is going to fall for the trap.
Yeah, Soiza just doesn't have anything. Is going to check.
Full house, even though it's the worst possible full house, but still a full house.
Still a full house. I'd like to see Slappy White bet. The reason is he has a lot of misdraws. 10 Jack, King 10, 10 8, club draws. So he should be going value. Just as the opponent doesn't have anything.
Mm-hmm. This could get interesting as well. The Ace 9 suited is going to be an open for Adamo. Slappy White picks up pocket threes in the small blind.
Yep. Slappy White trying to think, is it too much to shove? He thinks it's not, so he is going to jam. But man, it's like Ace 9 suited is a good hand three-handed, but it's against a 31, 32 big blind shove. And the truth is, Slappy White probably will shove better aces as well. So sometimes you got to let it go.
King 4 suited against pocket nines. If Soiza thinks he can just call here, I think he's wrong, Nano. I think we're going to see another raise. 640 it was before.
Yeah, 640. He's probably going to go the same thing, but I don't think Soiza will fold. He probably will limp call because he knows that Adamo will raise here with trashy hands, like any trashy hand. So we'll just limp call ace on the flop.
Yeah, that's an interesting card. Soiza could potentially use that, but most likely Adamo will just continue betting here. And if he bets anything above 400, I think we'll never see a call. But even 300 will get the job done. Well done. Closing in on 10 million.
Yeah, and Soiza is going to open the Jack 9. Ace 3 offsuit. Is this guy really going to 3-bet the Ace 3 offsuit? Man, he just never gives up the spot if he does. And I think he is. He is. He's done it. He's 3-bet the Ace 3. This is the
I'm actually a bit sad about.
What
we never saw our winner again of week 1. Grabenratz. We've never seen Grabenratz again. You know, he was our original champ. What happened to Grabenratz?
We got Michael Adamo 3-betting these trashy hands. Do you want to talk about grabbing rats?
No, because I was thinking of the guys that have won so far. Obviously, the fact that Adamo already won and is now on track to potentially become our first two-time champ is insane. He's not there yet, I know, but it's starting to look really good. Slappy White does Paris 4 here. I was like, what happened to our other champs? And, you know, we saw Isaac Haxton today. I was like, what happened to the OG? Just wondering, Nano, just wondering.
Yeah, just cool story, bro. Cool story. But the pocket fives, all right. So should be raising.
Probably just a call here, right? Like King 9. Do you really want to 3-bet that too?
This hand is too strong to 3-bet because you don't want to get blown off of this hand. So the call is correct.
Makes a lot of sense. Maybe not the worst flop in the world for fives, even though Slappy White is going to check it back, and there is a 9 on the turn for Adamo.
Should have bet. That's what happens when you don't bet. But I actually would have liked to see the 5-bet. I think he would because he doesn't have the backdoor diamond draw. But I just think fives is too vulnerable, and you accidentally fold the best hand a little bit too often. It's a bit vulnerable, but right now it's what it looks like to me is Soiza and Slappy White kind of like trying to play pots, but also trying to keep them a little bit small. And Adamo should be able to chip up really freely right now.
Soiza will Paris King here. Slappy White does pick up the backdoor flush draw, and of course the gut shot with the 10. Would you ever bet your Queen Jack here?
I probably wouldn't in this spot because I know Soiza checks back aces and kings, not pocket it, but like an ace or a king a lot, and wouldn't fold. But if I knew my opponent always bets those hands, then I would probably bet. But in this situation, I think he's pretty well done. You got the 5 card, so you got to realize all of your equity for no extra chips, and that's always a nice thing. It'd be pretty thin for King 7 to go for value, but he might. But it's pretty thin. He's basically hoping for like a 6-5 to call him, which might not even call.
So he picks up a little pot here, as we have 2 real hands. And maybe Adamo with the open as well. 6-5. Yes, indeed. That is going to be the open. I don't believe Slappy White will ever get out of the way, though, with King Jack suited.
He might shove, and he will shove. And Soiza pocket 7s quickly folds. So that hand could have played very differently.
Yep. If Adamo doesn't open, right? Like, then it's suddenly small blind against big blind.
Exactly. Or someone else has King Jack suit. They might just call pre-flop, and, Soiza jams. It just could have been very different. Adamo has actually picked up some good hands in the big blind. This time we'll check the garbage.
Picks up a lot of potential, though. The hard flush draw, the backdoor straight draws, they're all there.
Yeah, good bet.
He's really closing in on 10 mil now.
Yeah,
I feel like we've never actually seen anybody having over 10 million chips and they're still being played.
Yeah, usually the tournament is over.
Yeah. I mean, we had this one scenario. Yeah, where 2 players with very similar stacks went all in against each other, and then the guy that won had like 2 big blinds less. So then obviously he had over 10 millions, but we've never really seen it really come into play like this. And I mean, he earned it the hard way. Just non-stop aggression. Adamo's playing some fantastic poker. Let's see what he does here with the pocket 4s.
Given the way he's been playing, he's probably going to fire out 25%, which he does. He likes to deny his opponent equity. So he'll do this with, hands like 4s. So like earlier we saw Slappy White check back the 5s on that kind of board. So, this is what Adamo's doing. He does get called by King 7 high. No pair, no draw. Adamo, the ace is a card where he was looking to show down to 4s, but he might actually bet because he can get a lot of better hands to fold. like like a 5-3 offsuit, like a
Hmm.
6-7, like those kind of like middling pairs that now have so many overcards. Adamo obviously raises any ace on the button, so he can easily hit an ace, and he is gonna bet. I mean, he was value betting here, but he actually was bluffing.
Yeah, he's playing incredibly well. Let's see what happens here as Slappy White finds a7.
Ship
As
it.
he's first to act. Michael Adamo with King Queen offsuit. King Queen has been good on this final table, very good even. And he is going to ship it. And Slappy White is going to fold ace-7 offsuit.
It's the thing is like you got to think, I got this solid image. How does this guy still shove it on me every single time? Is going to be another shove here. Michael Soiza will definitely be calling with the 9s. So we're going to have a coin flip coming up.
This could very well be it. Are we going to stay with 3 or will we go down? 2 heads up. Ace-10 against 9. So far, the 9s are good. The 9s are still good, but there's 5s now as well. Ace-10 or a 5. And it's not going to be. It's 4 will be safe for Soiza as he doubles up. And he is now the one over 10 million chips, Nano.
Does this slow down Michael Adamo? Will he slow down? Soiza's been playing really solid poker. Regains the chip lead. Does not slow down Michael's 10-9 offsuit. But Soiza now going to defend a 4-9 offsuit.
He's going to channel his best inner Michael Adamo impression. He's like, I've seen you do this. Let's see how this works out. The 9-10 check back on the flop. I guess it makes sense, right? Because the hand is pretty damn good and you want to see extra cards.
Yeah, I would say normally you would expect someone to bet, but I think Michael, now that he doesn't have the chip lead, kind of wants to play some pots a little bit trickier and take them a little bit slower. But he does win.
Yeah, obviously, it would really suck there if you bet your open-ended straight draw and then you get raised, right? And it's like,
yeah,
well,
correct.
Yeah, that was unnecessary. Got 9-4 tagging along. Let's see what Michael is.
I don't know why.
Do.
Why is he going to raise it? He's going to raise, isn't he? He's going to raise the 10 deuce offsuit. Isn't Soiza the chip leader? I thought the roles were reversed.
This is where you just shove on him a couple times, Yeah, you might lose 6 million chips, but at least you finally take a stance.
Slappy White, just looking, he's been playing relatively tight, and he's just, picking up some hands and reshoving correctly. Ace-10's another good one. This is a real battle right now.
And I think at this point, still anybody's game as well. It really felt that Adamo was running away with it for a split second, but obviously losing such a massive flip. The ace-10 against 9s has kind of turned things upside down. Slappy White here with the tricky ace-jack limp.
I like it because
fall for it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I like it because I actually expect Soiza to raise the limp a lot, so he can just limp jam and just pick up like 4 extra big blinds or so. So it didn't work, but it definitely would have worked on Michael Adamo.
Now I kind of wonder what he's going to do with his ace-jack. Obviously, has really underplayed his hand up to this point. The 7 of spades on the turn.
Yeah,
it's a really interesting card.
Soiza's got a lot of weak draws, but a lot of chances to win in case his opponent has like, a random 9 or 6 that probably that might get some pressure. But the ace-jack can't fold. He's got the nut flush draw and maybe the best hand.
Yep. I mean, Soiza probably thinks that his flush is almost always going to be good here. It is not. The 5, however, will be good. I mean, that's all he needed. He had an insane amount of outs up. Well, actually not that many because the spades were no good. But, a 3, an 8, a 5 here as well, or a queen even. So, I mean, pretty big pot, right? 2.3 million in the middle. Ay.
Yeah, just think about turning the 5 into a bluff. And he's going to go pot size bet as a bluff. But he is the best hand. But the point is, he thinks his opponent usually has a 6, a 7, or 9, and it's probably true. So very well done. Soiza is capable of making a big play, and here's final 3.
Yep, we are down to the final three, and we do have a dominant, convincing chip leader at this point. It's Michael Soiza. He was our chip leader when we went into the show today. When we went down to the last 16 players, was definitely bleeding out chips for a little while. Didn't get super fortunate a couple of times early on, but he's back on top. 10.4 million, 52 big blinds. Michael Adamo, though, I think it's safe to say, Nano, that we can never count this young man out. 32 big blinds. And Slappy White still in his very first GG poker tournament ever. Still in their top three at this point. Guaranteed himself $197,000. Our production had some fun. You know, listing that he had less cashes than me. That's not the case anymore, guys. It seems that our break timer is indeed not working, but I'm assuming that this is just going to be 5 minutes again. Well, I think Nano... Oh, we're gonna try, guys. We'll figure it out. Nano is going to take a break, and guys, I'll take a little quick break as well. We'll be back in a couple of minutes to wrap up the High Roller Super Millions final table, unless we're here for another hour, but I highly doubt that. We're down to our final three. Take a quick break and see you guys soon. All right, guys, I'm back. Nano will be back soon as well to continue our coverage of the final table of the High Roller Super Millions, the 6th edition. This is a weekly ongoing tournament series over on GG Poker. The tournament is always played on Sunday. 10K buy-in, 2 million guaranteed. Let's say 10 million buy-in. That would have been a little excessive. And it's been our longest final table by far. Of course, we started with 16 players today instead of just the 9. That obviously helped a little bit. But even besides that, I feel like there's been a lot of play between these three. I'm a little bit sad about a couple of the players that we lost earlier on. But the action has been fierce. And we're going to see who takes it all. I mean, Michael Soiza, super impressive. Because at one point, he was one of the shortest stacks left in the tournament. Bounced back in a very strong way. Played his hand well. Found his spots. We're going to see if he's able to close it out. But 10 against 6 million, Randy. Absolutely no guarantees over here.
Soiza, I don't know how he does it. This guy just ships tournaments. His resume is just pretty much shipping tournaments. Like, first time play Super Million. He's top 3. First time to play the Triton series, ships it for 1 point something million. Like, first time he played everything, he ships tournaments. I played a lot of tournaments with him, 10K buy-ins and stuff. He shipped pretty much all of the tournaments. So, yeah. But, you know, Michael Adamo, he's already won this tournament once out of the 6 times we played. Got the capability. But we got the guy who hasn't played on GG Poker before, also still in it.
Yeah, he was probably a little bothered by that little note on his profile page. Less cashes than Rotterdam. He's like, let me fix that. Let's put the bar real high. So Roddy's going to have to grind for the upcoming 2 years to even get remotely close.
Probably Roddy has to grind for the rest of his life.
Hey now. We'll see about that. WCSOP, dreams are alive, okay? Dreams are alive for poker players around the world. As we have 5s against Queen 8 here. 5s are going to shove. And we'll get the fold. You know, one thing I want to mention quickly is that I think it's super cool as well, is that some of the poker bloggers that I used to watch and still watch, they're now actually moving to different countries to participate in WCSOP online, to participate here and playing this in GG Poker. They're also starting to kind of just upload some poker blogs just from them sitting in, you know, Mexico, whatever, and then streaming some of the cash table action that happens over at GG Poker. I think that's super cool. It's really fun to see this much content happening around the online edition of the World Series of Poker.
Yeah, it's been really awesome to see that we've really grown as a poker community. You know, we got the whole cars up online. Events are getting bigger, and I don't know. Hold on. Check raise Queen 9 suited against Michael here. Michael just ace 10 high, no backdoor draws, really. Well, can he slip this one out? He had 2-3, but it's not a good draw, right? Like, usually you want a diamond out there.
That's
usually, true. And he makes the correct call. This is
wow, what a call! And where is this hand gonna go now? Will Soiza go all out here? No, he's actually going to check. I wonder, do you think that Adamo is just going to check back here?
He's either going to bet small, I think, or he's going to check back. I think he knows that his opponent doesn't have that much equity usually. It does have some outs. So he's going to bet small. Yeah, it's good.
Yep.
It's a lot of time your opponent, okay, if they check raise a big hand, they would not stop on the deuce. So this is a good read. And again, the guy who should be playing a little bit calm is the one being aggressive.
When I saw the Queen 9 raise, I was like, we've got a new captain. I'm the captain now. But
that's 5-9 offsuit.
Yeah. Refuses to stop being the captain. And is now getting awfully close again. This is all right. Well, 9-5 flops 2 pair, top and bottom. Soiza does pick up the gut shot and the backdoor flush draw.
Yeah, Soiza's going nowhere. He should be at least continuing here. He got a draw to the nuts. Slappy White just hoping one of these 2 guys bust sooner than later.
Slappy White is hoping for a 7 here, that's for sure.
I was going to say Soiza might check raise here, and because Adamo probably will have a lot of stuff that will miss, to be honest.
I would love to see a shove here. I feel like at this point, there is so much in the middle already.
It does kind of seem like your opponent who check raises flop will be willing to commit, is going to call, and that is going to be a jam and a call, in my opinion. It's going to be a huge pot from the 2 big stacks.
So he's
So
obviously picks
he
up the
can't check.
flush draw.
Yeah, he can't check. He's got to keep betting because his opponent's going to have a lot of weak hands like ace-6, king-6 that can't really handle the heat. Is going to jam. Boom.
Oh, we got the snap call, top and bottom against the gut shot and the flush draw. We need a 7 or a club, and it is going
It's
to
red.
be. Oh, what? That's it? Well, no, 1.4 million left for Sosa, but a monster pot heading towards our, well, new chip leader, Michael Adamo, who now has king queen, by the way, against the a7 suited in the big blind. Uh-oh. I mean,
You got to
that's just
fold
the
this
sixth
ace.
spot.
You got to fold.
Yeah.
You have to fold.
Oh,
Unfortunately,
that's so
yes,
sick.
ace-7 suited is always the best hand, but Soisa's got 7 big blinds. The truth is, sure, you got to play for the win, but no, you got to play for the pay jump right now if you're Slappy White. This is what you
Wow.
wanted to happen.
What a spot. I mean, there is
$115,000
$115,000 difference. He calls. He doesn't care. A7 is ahead, but okay, Paris is 7. King of
Oh
my
no,
goodness.
that
The queen on
queen.
the turn. No. We need an ace or a 7 on the river, or Slappy White is out, and he will be out. What a spot. And that pretty much does it. I mean, unless we watch...
is so happy. What was no? The king queen is the nuts at this final table, and Michael Adamo has how big of a chip lead is this? I can't even do the math.
I mean, that's 18-1 or something.
Oh my god.
Ace 4 is going to shove. Jack 10 is going to call. 3 million chips in the middle. With a jack or a 10, it will most likely be all over.
Ornate.
Jack or a 10, ornate. And it is going to be an ace. So Sosa does chip up to 3 million, but that's still 17 to 3 million. Oh. Wow. Wow. What just happened, Nano?
That was a crazy break. I'll tell you that. Like something happened. And Sosa bluffed off his chips against Adamo. Doesn't get there. Slappy White calls off with a7 suited, going for the win because he thought he had the best hand, and he did have the best hand, but that's the thing. King Queen's got a lot of equity against your a7 suited, and now we got a heads-up match where Sosa just doubles up. Sosa's got the straight draw.
I can't believe it. Oh my goodness. We're about to witness somebody winning 2 out of the first 6 editions of the High Roller Super Millions over at GG Poker. That is an absolutely
my god! Wait,
insane...
what is happening? What just happened? Does Adamo just bet the flop and turn with 6-5 high? How does he know? How does he do
it? Well, I mean, when you have 18 million chips and your opponent's got 2.4 million, I think you can just fire away, no?
I mean, but the thing is, when someone check calls you on Queen 9 Deuce, it doesn't really look like they're folding when the card pairs the deuce. But that is some sick reason. I think it's gonna be maybe a jam. I'm not sure. It's 10 big blinds. It's going to limp, so he isn't going to lose all his chips.
King Jack. Yeah. So he's like claws his way back to 2.5, but it's going to need a whole lot more than this. Even folding hurts so much right now, right?
Yeah, but I mean, you got to fold the trashiest hand. Right now, it's a push-fold situation a lot of times with Sosa. Adamo will shove a lot. We'll limp, do some limps here and there. Is going to limp.
Probably check back. Well, not the worst flop for Jack 7.
Yeah, I would just throw out 200K. Your opponent's playing, he doesn't have big cards a lot because big cards would shove on a limp with only 10 big blinds pre-flop. So you can pretty much auto bet these flops, even though it looks like usually someone has a piece.
Oh, this could be it. Jack 8 is going to go all in, get snap called by Ace 8. Michael Adamo right now in a great position to become our first 2-time High Roller Super Millions. If the
you need a jack
emoji
and a jack
now.
only,
one time it's black, so that means only one out. The deuce is not going to do it. GG gets called. Michael Sosa will be the runner-up. He'll walk away with $312,000, but a standing ovation, I think, Nano, for your pick all along. Michael Adamo, who is now not a 1, but a 2-time champ of the High Roller Super Millions. And that is an absolutely insane achievement.
I mean, before we get all about Michael Adamo, congratulations to Michael Soiza. Got second place. He probably should have got third place, but Slappy White made that big call going for the win and happened to get a little bit unlucky against the King Queen. He wasn't that far ahead. The Soiza actually got a huge pay jump from third to second place. Soiza's very first time playing the 10K Super Millions. Did very well. Second place. Hey, he didn't ship it, but I think he's actually probably pretty content with how it went out at the Monday, who was so short.
Exactly.
It was such an insane amount of hands, right? Like, we saw the 9-5 raise from Adamo, who was the second place guy. Flops 2 pair against Soiza. Soiza made the check raise on 9-6-5 with 10-8 suited. Got called, turns the flush out, jams, gets called, doesn't get there. And then the Slappy White hand, and now it's all of a sudden it's over. And Michael Adamo, first 2-time champion. 6 times you said this tournament happened. He's won it twice. That's very hard to do.
That's
he plays
insane.
to win. He plays to win. And you're a fan now, right? 100%. No
yeah,
questions
of course.
asked.
I mean, come on. And the way that he plays as well. Like, you give that man a couple of chips and he's gonna make them work for it. It's been amazing. I love this from going down from 16, because some of our final tables were a bit short, and then we saw players only having like the opportunity to play 1 or 2 hands, and that's it. We got to see a lot of play out of almost everyone that made it to the final 16, right? Obviously, there were 2-3 incredibly short stacks, and we lost those rather quickly, but I think we saw a lot of awesome poker hands. And like I said it before, I think that's the best way to put it. A lot of us amateur poker players, we want to play like Michael Adamo. The thing is, we're going to be wrong so often that we just keep busting over and over and over again. But Adamo seems to be an absolute genius in avoiding those scenarios, and played incredibly well.
All the money is at that top spot. He plays to win every single time. I've said it. He's either going to get it first or ninth. And you know what? He's gotten first twice when he's gotten to this final table. He's a very, 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 very good player. I would say I said a lot of people think he's one of the best tournament players in the world. I think he's proven that right now. He might be the best tournament player in the world, but he's definitely up there. And, of course, that's up for debate. But you can't deny this guy's just got all the skills. You can see why he ships tournaments, and he's just very hyped to watch. If I'm you guys, I'm rewatching all of his final tables because this is such an amazing performance.
Yeah. Aggression, and that's what it boils down to. But so good in avoiding some of the rough scenarios as well. And the craziest thing is that I feel like today he didn't even get particularly lucky, or he ran great, right? He lost a couple of massive flips early on. There were 50-50 scenarios. None of those went his way. Was the shortest stack by far at one point. He was down to 12 big blinds, or 11 even, I think, at one point. Still managed to turn it around. Of course, he won a big flip as well when he was the underdog. I think the ace-7 against the ace-king, or ace-8, whatever it was. But yeah, he lost one of those before, so that just keeps it even. Incredible. Yeah. I mean, you made fun of me when I asked in the first week if we were going to see some back-to-back final table appearances. It didn't happen in week 2. It did happen in week 3. We've seen a lot of familiar faces making final tables here over and over again. We saw Isaac Hexton again today, having a very deep run. But Michael Adamo winning 2 out of 6. Standing ovation. That's all I got to say.
Amazing player. And I just can't wait for next week. We might see another Michael Adamo appearance. Who knows? It's been very fun to commentate this with you again, Roddy. It was such a good table today.
I think that's a beautiful way to end it, Nano. Thank you very much for joining me, of course, for all these hours. We hope that you guys at home really enjoyed the show. And of course, one more time, the World Series of Poker are being played right now over at GG Poker. So if you don't have an account yet, what are you waiting for? And start that hunt for a bracelet, because that's what every poker player really dreams of, right? On top of that, it's not just all about the World Series of Poker. There's a lot of other insane tournaments running right now. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of traffic on the site in the upcoming weeks. So even your regular tournaments are a little more fun. They're a little more busy. It's a great time to play some online poker. That is going to be it. We'll be back next week. Same time, same place. If you don't follow the Twitch channel yet, what are you waiting for? When you can watch guys like Michael Adamo just ship these tournaments 2 out of 6 weeks. I mean, this is obviously a great play or a great place to watch some awesome online poker. Thank you guys for watching, and have a beautiful night or day wherever you may be.